The Late Night Alternative with Iain Lee on Talk Radio.
We have ways of making you talk.
There's a voice that keeps on calling me. Down the road, it's where I'll always be. Every stop I make a new friend. Can't stay for long, just turn around and I'm gone again. Maybe tomorrow I'll wanna settle down. Until tomorrow I'll just keep moving on. Down this road that never seems to end. When new adventure lies just around the bend. So if you wanna join me for a while, just grab your hat, come travel light, that's old style. Maybe tomorrow I'll wanna settle down. Until tomorrow, the whole world is my home. So if you wanna join me for a while, just grab your hat, come travel light, that's old style. Maybe tomorrow I'll wanna settle down. Until tomorrow, I'll just keep moving on. Maybe tomorrow I'll wanna settle down. Until tomorrow, I'll just keep moving on. There's a world that's waiting to unfold. A brand new tale no one has ever told. We've journeyed far, but you know it won't be long. We're almost there and we paid our fare with a hobo song. Maybe tomorrow I'll wanna settle down. Until tomorrow, I'll just keep moving on. So if you wanna join me...
I was getting bored of that song. That looked very much like a Nazi salute there. You've got to be...
damn it.
Joel Dommett, you've got to be so careful pumping the air like that because someone is going to clip that, turn that into a GIF. That's your career over. Literally minutes after it started, my
I'll
friend.
be honest, I thought it was GIF, not GIF.
Well, this is... we like to educate. It's GIF. It's controversy. It's controversy or controversy.
Controversy.
I believe, and I will fight to the death, is GIF.
It's GIF, but then you're
changed
getting
it
into
to
the whole
SIF.
thing of SIF and GIF, that whole thing. You know, then it's confusing on a whole nother level.
Are you... I don't know how aware you are of psychedelic music, but do you know the instrument, the Moog synthesizer?
I don't know, but I cannot wait to hear it.
Okay, well, it's pronounced Moog. Anyway...
Oh, I'm so sorry.
The late night
Is it
alternative...
Moogly or Mowgli? That's another one.
Oh, I'm thinking of Muttley, the dog. Who kids don't even know who Muttley is. Anyway, this is the late night alternative on Talk Radio with me, Iain Lee. Katherine Boyle is there.
Word.
And another jungle loser, Joel Dommett, is in the house, I believe.
Yeah.
We say...
In the ends.
For those who don't know, Joel is an author, stand-up comedian, a television presenter, and you came second in the jungle.
I did, yes.
Last year.
Yes.
The year before it really counted.
Yeah.
And I suspect, like me, because I haven't been on telly for years and years and years, and apparently I was the most Googled contestant. And I suspect that you were the most Googled contestant in your year, because, you know, I mean this politely, most people wouldn't have heard of you. You were the kind of the dark horse. People going, well, who's this guy? Because you were doing stand-up, obviously.
Yeah, it was like, it was weird. It was like, I mean, it was... You could say I went into I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here, and it wasn't until they got me out of there that I became a celebrity. Yeah. And, so it was a win-win situation for me, because nobody knew me, so if 10 extra people came to see me on tour, then it was a win.
So how did you... What kind of venues were you playing, doing... By the way, if you want to call in, 0344 499 1000, we're not going to talk about the jungle, we'll talk about Joel's book. You can talk about anything. You know the score. Phone up and do nonsense. So what kind of venues were you playing before you went in?
So I went in... the week before I went in, I did a tour date in Newcastle, and it was very sort of poorly populated, and it was a very small venue anyway. And there was probably 40 people there. Bear in mind, I'd driven all the way there.
Yeah.
Probably took me 7 hours.
How much did you get for that?
Couldn't afford a hotel.
Yeah.
So I had to drive all the way back that night. And next week, I'm about to do Newcastle Theatre Royal, I think it is, and that's like a 2,000-seater. And it's
in
almost
the
sold out.
space of a year. Well, you were telling me that when you came out, your agent said, because one of the first people one speaks to coming out is you speak to your agent.
Yeah, absolutely.
You find out exactly what the press have dug up.
You speak to your agent, you speak to your mother, speak to your lawyer.
In that order.
That's fine.
And your agent said, oh, by the way, we've booked the Hammersmith Odeon.
There's Hammersmith Polo. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And I was like... Because you'll know, when you're in there, you have no idea of how big an impact the show is. It's so... You're so in your own little bubble, and you can't believe that people are still keeping you in week after week. And then you get out, and you still don't really understand it because you're in Australia. And then my agent called me, and he was like, "Oh, we've put a date on at the Hammersmith Apollo," and I lost my mind.
Wow.
It was madness, and I just can't. Okay, still to this day.
Did they get any dirt on you? Did they dig up any dirt? Because I know. The press was sniffing around me to find out the state of my marriage, and they, and I've been in the press twice over the past 20 years. Once because I had a stalker, and once because years ago I gave my phone number to someone who I shouldn't have given my phone number to. But they doorstepped my wife, they doorstepped my mother-in-law. They were really having a good old root around.
They're contacting people that. Like, I haven't spoken to in so long. Like, old school friends that I don't really know, you know? I mean, they dug up a real bit of dirt in the fact that that I was catfished online, and then I had a sort of an online sex tape released of myself.
No, did you?
Yeah, it was big style, but it was bad stuff.
Oh no!
But I kind of knew that was going to happen.
Right.
Before I went in, it was like I felt like it's gonna. Basically, with some person online, we talked, and
I genuinely didn't know this. I wasn't rooting around for anything,
and I was bad, and we got to know each other, and I thought this is fine, and then we had Skype sex, what I thought of Skype sex, and we did, and I trusted. She had 100,000 followers, so I immediately trusted her.
Of course,
that's what trust is these days.
Big numbers means trust.
And we had Skype sex, which apparently is not like sex at all. And
they haven't invented the attachments yet, have they? It's still the good old fashioned way.
It's really, and then I was wearing a beanie.
Oh,
and
is that the thing you most regret?
That's God.
Where was the beanie?
I mean, who wears a beanie when they do? I mean, it's...
But the thing is, you're no one if you've not had a sex tape leaked these days, are you?
I've got loads of sex tapes, and no one
wants to see them.
No one's interested. No one's interested.
Trying to sell them at car boot sales.
It's got a garage full.
So had that, and I genuinely didn't know that was a thing. So had that come out before you went in, or was it just kind of lurking around in the background?
It was lurking around, and I knew it was gonna come out when I went in there, because I obviously knew this was going to be a big show, and I knew it existed, but I hadn't seen it. And then, so I fairly cleverly...
Were they trying to was it money or something?
Money. They were asking for money. And then I decided not to pay it, obviously. They said, the funny thing, they went, give us this money and we won't release the photo, because I thought it was at that point I thought it was a photo. Oh. And I just really laughed at it, as if like they've got one photo, as if they've gone to Snappy Snaps to get it developed. And I was like, no, of course not. And then they released a video online, which is way worse than I should have just paid them. And
they would have shown it anyway.
I know, exactly. It's just horrible. It's, my mum used to have a Google alert on my name. That was taken off. Taken swiftly off. It was horrible. It was horrible. But then I came out the jungle, and to deal with it in a funny way, I released a statement from the perspective of my penis, and
well done.
And I thought that was really funny.
Is there? We'll talk about the book. We won't just focus on your penis for the whole thing, but for the next 40 minutes, let's clear the switchboard. Was there a sense of relief though knowing that it was
the
out?
Skype sex?
No.
Oh my God!
He splashed out on a new computer.
Oh, come on!
Come on, guys. The old ones are the best. But what was it because I often think that with those things, the knowledge that it exists is worse than the actual event, particularly if it happens when you're in the jungle, when you are powerless over everything anyway.
Totally, and that was the way I decided to deal with it. Before I went in, I was like, okay, this is the only thing that can harm me, essentially.
Yeah.
I was like, okay. and obviously you don't have much control when you're in there. So I made a conscious decision to talk about it whilst I was in there.
Right, that's interesting.
And then, and I sort of let it come out organically within a conversation, and so then if I had control over it, so I said it.
Again,
so if the papers had found it, then they had nothing because I had already talked about it.
Yeah.
So I and then wrote a show about it and wrote a tour show about it, and then it's so turned it into something instead of hiding away from it and other people having control of it.
That's the thing, isn't it? With embarrassing. I don't know if it is embarrassing now, but with things like that, you've kind of got to own it. You've got to go, yeah, I did this, and this is the reasons why, and because then it takes the power out of it.
Exactly, and I'm a comedian. I can talk about it and make it funny, hopefully. And if I was a teacher, then I would have lost my job. But I'm a comedian, so I can talk about it, and then. To sort of put it in a stupid way, I mean, it's like now if it happens to anybody else and someone thinks to themselves, well, maybe this isn't a real person. I saw Joel Dommett talk about it live on stage. Maybe this isn't real. Then I've done my job, and I've saved someone else the embarrassment of touching themselves in a beanie.
And you can download the video of this from joeldommett.com for just $5.99.
Absolutely.
You've got to cash it. Put your headphones on. We've got a caller from Mexico, it says on my screen.
My lord.
There's a little, if you follow the lead, there's a little volume if you need to up it or down it.
Thanks, mate.
Graham, are you actually in Mexico?
I am in Mexico, yes.
Well, what are you doing over there, you idiot?
I've been over here since 1990.
Well, you know that they do flights back to England?
I know, I come back quite often.
OK, great. What have you called in for, Graham?
Yeah, well, what it is, I was listening to you talk about the Moog synthesizer, and you said it's not pronounced the Moog, it's the Moog.
It's pronounced the Moog, yes.
No, it isn't, because it's from Robert Moog.
No, it's Robert Moog.
No, it's Robert Moog, because the phonetics for his name is M-O-U-G.
What?
The phonetics for his name is M-O-U-G.
Yeah, so Moog.
No, that's Moog.
No, Moog is M-O-O-G, which is how it's spelt.
Yeah, but phonetics for it is a U. Ooh, Moog.
Hang on.
I love the fact that we've been talking about a sex tape for 10 minutes, and this is the thing you decided to talk about.
Exactly.
Right, yeah, because I got into that kind of music early in the 70s.
You're into the wrong kind of music.
Well, I'm not.
Right, we're going to go
I like Moog.
I
like Moog and things like that.
Ladies and gentlemen.
I got into it.
Shut up. Shut up.
Hang on.
Shut up, because we're going to play... Do you know...
Where Owen first came out.
Yes. God,
I watched it, because then you've got Walter Carlos, who worked with Robert Moog.
Moog.
The synthesizer.
OK, here's the question, Graham. What was the first pop record to feature the Moog synthesizer?
The Moog synthesizer.
No.
Pop record.
The first pop record to feature the Moog synthesizer.
Was it... I'm trying to think of its name. Something in the Sky.
What? Something in the Sky?
In the Sky, I think it was called, wasn't it?
No, it wasn't. It was the...
It's pronounced ski, actually.
It's the Monkees album, Pisces, Aquarius, Capricorn and Jones from 1967. But never mind.
Was it really?
I've found a clip on YouTube, and it says here, Bob Moog on the proper pronunciation of his last name.
Well,
so
you sure it's not Burb?
So this is... Stop it. So this is actually the man himself, OK?
Well, the man himself, I've got a recording with him somewhere.
Yeah, I've got a recording.
And he said, he's introduced as Robert Moog, and he even says his name is Moog.
Right, well, let's see what he says. I've not seen this clip. It's only 50 seconds long. Do you think you can keep quiet for that long?
I can do.
Here we go.
Well, there are three ways of pronouncing M-O-O-G.
Here we go.
It's originally a Dutch name. This goes back, 1,000 years or so. And in Holland, you would pronounce it Moch.
Oh, for crying!
Now, that's a little bit too much.
Moch.
Moch.
Hang on.
Yeah.
In Germany, it's a fairly common name, and there it's pronounced Moog. In Great Britain, English-speaking countries, people see the double O and they say Moog.
How do you pronounce it, Bob?
I just happen to like the sound of Moog.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. He pronounces it Moog, Graham.
Does it?
Here we go.
That was one of my favourite things I've ever been involved in.
Well, stay tuned, because that's the show.
Absolutely wonderful.
Oh, good God. We'll take a quick break. 0344 499 1000 is the telephone number. Joel Dommett is here. He's got a book out, which we might talk about in a little bit. We'll see how it goes. This is Talk Radio.
Late night conversation worth losing sleep over. The Late Night Alternative with Iain Lee on Talk Radio.
We have ways of making you talk.
This is the Late Night Alternative on Talk Radio on DAB, on app, and of course online at talkradio.co.uk. You can watch us in our studio if you go to periscope.tv/Iain Lee. I'm Iain Lee. Katherine Boyle is there.
Hello.
Joel Dommett is there. And one of the joys of watching on Periscope is you get to see all the stuff that happens during the adverts. And literally just before the microphones went live, Joel uttered the sentence, and I really didn't want to shit my white skirt.
Yes.
What was this? This is a show that you do with Nish Kumar.
Nish Kumar, yeah.
Now, because you explained the show to us slightly outside, and me and Kath are thinking, this is the easiest gig in the world. He just gets to go all around the world. Explaining it in here, suddenly it sounds quite unpleasant.
So basically, I go to all the fittest tribes in the world,
Yes.
and try and keep up with them for a week.
Why would you want to do that?
Well, it's comedy set. It's all work, mate.
Yeah.
And then we went to Mexico. Well, the story I was saying during the break, I went to Mexico and I ran a 32-mile ultra marathon. And I had basically, to cut a long story short, terrible food poisoning, could not stop diarrheaing everywhere, and then had to run 32 miles in the ultra heat.
In a white skirt?
In a white skirt, because that was the traditional garb of the people. And so I was, and I wore this traditional thing because they were like, this is what you have to wear. I got to the start line, everyone was wearing jeans.
Of course they were. Jeans?
Jeans, exactly. And they were like 60 years old. And I was like, I'm going to beat these people. It's going to be absolutely fine. They're 60. They're wearing jeans.
Yeah.
I'm wearing a white skirt.
Yeah.
And all I was focusing on was like, get to the first corner without soiling myself. That was all I was concentrating on. There was 32 miles, but I was concentrating on the first 200 metres. And then I managed to get past the first 200 metres, and then I carried on going, and I ran 32 miles, and I thought I was going to beat these 60-year-old people in jeans.
Yeah.
Cut to, like, I don't know, mile 10 or something. I was being lapped for like the third time by 60-year-olds in jeans. They are absolutely the most insane people.
But the heat does weird things to your muscles. I've tried playing like tennis in heat, and my arms wouldn't work. I mean, I'm crap at sport anyway.
I've tried having sex in a sauna. Very, very similar thing. Doesn't work.
Blame the heat.
Have you really? You've lived. You've seen things I can only begin to imagine. For me, sex is in the bed. At the very, very most, it's over the edge of the bed, but there's got to be a bed involved. There's people that do it in the kitchen.
What do you mean, perverts?
Oh, imagine doing it on the kitchen table where you make your kids dinner. What is that about?
Yeah, it's probably before you have kids, though. That's probably
I suppose so.
You know.
So what is this show? What's it called?
It's called Joel and Nish versus the World.
And you're doing another series?
Yeah, we're now going out again at the end of February.
Who are you? I'm saying this with disdain in my voice because the thought of you look quite buff.
Thank you.
You're buff, so I'm guessing that you're kind of quite a physical person anyway.
Yeah. I go to the gym as much as as a normal person.
You mean a millennial?
Yeah, maybe.
They're not our people.
No,
I'm sorry, guys.
No, because you're still quite young, aren't you?
I'm 32, so I'm on the edge.
Okay.
I'm on the edge of buying a motorbike.
Oh, that's us too.
Have you got a motorbike? I'm so sorry.
I turned 40 this year. I bought one.
No. We didn't buy motorbikes. We bought scooters.
Oh, okay.
Motorbike sounded cooler.
We bought scooters. So you're physically up for this kind of shiz anyway.
Yeah, it's fine.
And what stuff are you going to be doing in this series?
Although, in fact, I was physically up for doing it, but then I was filming it all immediately after I got out of the jungle last year, and so when you get out of the jungle, all you want to do is eat, as you definitely know, and you just cannot stop eating because food is the most delicious, amazing.
It becomes an obsession.
It's beautiful, and so slowly during the season, I just get fatter and fatter as towards the last episode of the thing.
Did you have the? I didn't look at the contract for I'm a Celebrity. No, don't look at it. My agent looked at it and he said it's fine, and there's this.
Just sign it.
They own your image for like 3 months after and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But the one point that was that the producers did flag up to me was the no masturbation rule.
Amazing.
Did you get that flagged up?
I think maybe we talked about it while we were in there, but
right.
But no, I didn't. I was completely unaware
Any
of it.
form of... I'm surprised I didn't mention it to you, but any form of masturbation, you get booted out.
Really?
Straight away.
Do they let you
just
finish
fall
first?
awkwardly on something.
Well, no, maybe
Repeatedly.
that was just this year, in the light of like Weinstein and Spacey. Maybe they brought it in for that, or maybe it's always been there, but they highlighted it. Literally was sat at a desk and it said, "By the way, if we can just draw your attention to this, if you can just read clause 7." Okay.
Wow.
Are you sure everyone else had it?
Oh,
And so does that mean that essentially first base is not allowed, but second and third and fourth base are allowed? What are they saying?
It was they were saying basically no contact with yourself or anybody else.
Or anybody else. Okay, so it's like someone else can't do the deed for you.
No, they can't do that.
That's
But also as well, it is the most unsexy place.
Oh my God!
In the world, and we, obviously, there's always beautiful men and women walking around in not much, but the thought of.
I cannot tell you how unaroused I was the entire time I was there.
Yeah.
Like completely.
Yeah.
There was at no point did I think a sexy thought once. It was like
not
dull to me.
even with the girls like purposefully going in with their bikinis into the showers.
No,
doing that.
really not.
You see them as like sisters then, or something.
I suppose so. Yeah. I mean, in our year, it was very much like we all just got on like a family. So that probably didn't help things. But it was, it was just like so unsexy.
Who was in your year? Remind us who was in your
Carol
year.
Vorderman was the legend. Jordan from Diversity. Adam Thomas from Emmerdale. Sam Quek from the Olympics.
Oh, yeah.
And Wayne Bridge from football.
Okay.
And me from Bristol.
Did you? There were moments when I was in there when. The first time I walked out, because I went in 5 days later and I was in lockdown, and then suddenly they said, right, you're going in tomorrow, and you have to wear your costume for the first time. You get driven to the edge of a wood, and then you go in a blacked out vehicle, and then you got the towel over your head, and then you're sat in a tent. And then they said, right, you're going to walk through those bushes and Ant and Dec will be there and they'll explain what's going to happen. And the second I walked through those bushes and there's Ant and Dec, there's all the people, there's the cameras, there's loads of snakes and spiders. And I had several moments like that where I felt like I'd been sucked into the TV, and I'm thinking, this is weird. The other real moment I had of that, I burst into hysterical laughter and for about 3 or 4 minutes because it was so unreal, was the last trial I had was when I walked out, and it was the eating one. Yeah. And I walked out and I saw the table and the chair and I thought, oh, I've got an eating one. And I just couldn't stop laughing because it's such an iconic setup. And I was thrilled that I was going to be there. Ant and Dec were there and they were bringing out... And I just kept laughing.
Yeah, I did that same one. I did the same one as you on the final day.
Did you do the eating one?
Yeah.
And I was so pleased it was an eating one because I knew I could do that.
Well, I was really worried because I thought it was going to be a moving thing. Right. I was going to have to eat something that's alive. And I was freaking out about that the entire day. And then I opened the last cloche. Yeah. And you become very sort of versed with the word cloche.
Oh, I love a good cloche.
It's a word that I didn't know until I got in there. And then every day they're like cloche, cloche, cloche. Yeah. And I became very afraid of them. Claustrophobic, some might say.
Good one.
Guys,
this guy's a stand-up. He's on tour at the moment, guys.
Absolutely. And it was mad. That same thing, that iconic moment where you're just like, wow, I'm doing the eating one.
Also, because I haven't been on telly for years, and no one really knew who I was. And I was there with proper famous people. I'm a big fan of Shappies. I've always loved Shappies. So I saw Shappy, and it's like, flipping heck. And I know nothing about football, but even I recognise Dennis Wise. Amir Khan, of course. Yeah. And Fizz from Coronation Street. Jenny. The others I wasn't quite so familiar with. But the proper... famous, Jenny was just one of the most delightful people you could ever meet. But also... I kept looking at her thinking, flipping it, it's Fizz. It's Fizz from Coronation. Did you have the same thing?
Yeah, imagine looking at Carol Vorderman.
Yeah.
And being in that space. Like you say, it's like you're sucked into the TV. When I went into the jungle, you're like, oh my God, this is the thing that I've watched for so many years. I'd only experienced that feeling once before, and that was when I went to the cafe in New York that's the set of Friends. You know that? Where you go in, you're like, oh my God, where's Gunther? You know? I had the exact same feeling when I was walking around the set, and I was just like, wow, this is... And the realisation that this is our home for the next 3 weeks, probably.
Yeah.
You know? It's... Yeah, it was mad.
It's what's really interesting, and we won't bang on about it all the time. If you want to phone in 03444991000, but the reason I'm finding this so interesting is because there's so few people who have been through that experience that you can share it with. And I've spoken to Kath about it. I've spoken to friends about it, but I mean, Kath knows perhaps slightly more than some of my other friends because you were part. You know, you got interviewed and questioned about it, and you and I told you I was going in. But there's only so much empathy they can give you because they just don't know how boring it is. You know, for example, it's so boring in there.
It's so... And the hunger, that's the thing people don't understand. It's featured in the show as like, these guys are hungry, but you just don't quite understand how hungry. Like, everyone gets out, and the question everyone asks me is, they give you stuff on the side, don't they? They give you stuff on the side. And you're like, no, I cannot tell you how much... Like, you're so hungry, you're ravenous. Like, you do anything for food, and that's the idea of the show. It's such a genius show. Starve celebrities. Yeah. Genius.
And I don't think they make enough of the fact that you're right, you would do anything for that food. This constant... I went in there on day 5, and they were all just talking about food, and I thought, for God's sake, this is so boring. And then day 4... I started talking about food because it's that constant low-level hunger that is just always.
Is it also
with you.
the boredom? All you've got to fixate on is when you're going to eat next.
That's where almost what becomes sexy. That's the funny thing.
Food porn.
Because it's like, you know, you don't look at the people in the shower anymore. You think about brownies.
Yeah.
Like, that's the.
You're not looking at them like Tom looks at Jerry and seeing like a rotisserie chicken.
Exactly.
But also, you're not talking about. We had a couple of conversations about the fanciest restaurant. But it's filth. You're talking about. I mean, Amir kept talking about this.
Chicken shop. Wasn't
he kept talking about this chicken shop in near Heathrow called Nasburger, which sounds amazing, right? And I'm not saying for a second that they are filth.
Jordan used to talk about that same place.
Really?
He used to talk about the same place every day.
Isn't that
honestly?
Funny? And he would always talk about Nasburger, and he'd go, honestly, man. And the thing is, Amir's never been into Nasburger. He pulls up in the car and sends his boys in to go and get him a Nasburger.
Can you imagine?
And you would talk about you talk about Nando's a lot, so it was never like big expensive meals. It was always, kind of home comforts.
When you came out, because I saw a lot of people when they came out shot their first meal and they'd asked for everything.
Yeah.
How much can you actually eat? Because I imagine your stomach's gone to the size of like an orange.
I didn't eat all day. I mean, because I'd had that Christmas dinner the day before, but also I couldn't eat that because I'd done the eating challenge, and I really wanted to puke after the eating challenge, but I couldn't. So I had an upset stomach all day. So about 2:00. The next night, I ordered room service and had half a pizza and some ice cream. But
I ate as soon as I left. They obviously tell you don't eat as much. Make sure you integrate stuff into your diet slowly. Mm-hmm. And I left, and I immediately ate a whole cheesecake. Like, that was the first thing.
I'm surprised that wasn't you.
Like a whole not even a slice, just a whole cheesecake, and then I vomited it back up again very quickly. But it was so quick after I'd eaten the cheesecake. The vomit tasted like cheesecake.
Two for the price of one.
Exactly. Buy one, get one free. Absolutely. It was incredible.
Isn't everything super sweet or super salty because you're not used to that amount of...
I didn't... taste is heightened. I didn't notice the salt as much as everyone else, as Jamie and Toff did. But the taste is... Chocolate tasted amazing.
Insane.
For 2 weeks after, chocolate was like... Oh, it was unlike anything you've ever had. It's incredible.
Yeah. It's so mate. It just, and it makes you realise how much we gorge on the outside and how much we just sort of like, it simplifies things. You have so much time to think, and it simplifies everything in there. So it's like you're in there and you think, oh, maybe I have too many friends, and it's like you think about who's important because. The people you're thinking about in there are the important people, and you think so much about your family. You don't think about the periphery people, and you don't necessarily think about your Instagram followers, but you think about your mum and your dad and your brother, and similarly, you don't taste anything on the outside. You realise you just throw stuff in your face. You have so much stuff all the time, like you have so many friends, and. You just don't... But when you come out, you just really know who your friends are, and you can taste every tiny little thing.
How long do you keep hold of that, though?
Not long.
No,
like days.
Well, I mean, it's funny. I think you could chart that whole 30-day experience and put down markers of where you start feeling things. And I think it would be pretty identical for everyone. The big thing for us was us all going, well, we're really going to reevaluate our relationship with social media and technology.
Because you went cold turkey.
And of course, as soon as you come out, you're on your phone going, right, let me say, but it has changed my attitude to things now. When I'm with my kids now, and when I go out for meals, I leave my phone at home, or I leave if I'm seeing the kids, I'll leave the phone in the car. Yeah. So I'm more present. Yeah. For them. So it has had an effect that I think will be a lasting effect. Yeah. We'll do the book. I just got to say, for those who don't know, Joel was one of the hosts of the ITV2 sort of spin-off show.
Yeah. Extra Camp.
Extra Camp.
Yeah.
And you were so delightful to my sister, all of you. But you were so lovely to my sister, who was a nervous wreck. And I knew that she could do it. I had complete confidence. I lied to her and I said, look, they might ask you to do 1 or 2 interviews, but, you know, you can say no. And I knew that she wouldn't say no, and I knew that she'd be a star, but you guys looked after her so much, so thank you so much.
An absolute pleasure. She was an absolute joy. We were big fans of you, so we were big fans of her.
Let's talk book. Joel Dommett, It's Not Me, It's Them, Confessions of a Hopeless Modern Romantic. Are you a modern... What's a modern romantic?
Well, I suppose a modern romantic is someone who's... I mean, you can date a lot more these days, can't you? It's like, you know, someone who's just been embroiled in dating apps and catfishing, like we talked about earlier. That's all in there in detail, so it's all kind of in there.
I've just opened it at random, and isn't it funny the bits you open up, I mean, how you could go off someone? You're talking about a date with a woman called Hannah. You're ordering dessert. Hannah, thankfully, doesn't choose the cheese board. Personally, I think only a serial killer would choose cheese as a dessert. Its only saving grace is the tiny pile of grapes that are sometimes supplied to help you get the taste of cheese out of your mouth when you've immediately regretted your cheese dessert decision.
Okay, well, it's a good job you're not dating him.
This guy's insane. Do not buy this book. It's the ramblings of a lunatic.
I cannot imagine the phone calls that this is going to create. That little excerpt is going to...
You wouldn't go cheese board on a date, though, would you?
Cheese board it's a bold move.
Cheese board on a date is like, let's wear track slacks and watch the telly.
Shut up, man.
And bear in mind, this is coming from... My dad owned a cheese shop for 20 years.
Oh.
But gosh. I don't know why I find that so funny.
So I used to work in there.
There's daddy issues in that paragraph. That's
totally
what it is.
Daddy issues.
Right, okay.
Totally. And I used to work there on Saturdays. He sent me on a course, and so I did a cheese course. And this is when I was like 20 years old, something like that.
Wow.
And I never went to university, so technically, cheese is my highest form of education. I know about this stuff.
He's got a 2-1 in dairy products.
What's your favourite cheese? What are you going with?
Well, listen, I'm a big fan of the classic English cheddar. I like a cheddar, but I do like a nice camembert.
Absolutely.
And a nice stinking bishop.
Absolutely. You've gone for the classics there.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. I mean, coming from a guy who worked in a cheese shop for a good 5 years, mate, you need to delve a little deeper, you know? You need to get into your Dolce Gorgonzolas, your Comtes, you know? Go for your Wigmores.
Where would you put Leerdammer?
Leerdammer. It's nice. It's a great cheese.
It's filth, though, isn't it? It's filth compared to what you were selling.
Exactly. Like
we're known to buy a Leerdammer pack and just cane the lot, aren't we?
Oh, absolutely.
Those Leerdammers, I mean.
Leerdammer.
If you've got any cheese questions, 0344 499 1000.
He's qualified.
He's qualified. I mean, he's... you know John Cleese's name was John Cheese?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, his name
Surely that was question 1.
Are you sure it wasn't a pronunciation issue?
His dad was Cheese, and then I think it was either him or his dad. I think his dad maybe who changed it to Cleese to make it sound less dumb.
His so my girlfriend, her mother she's Dutch, and I hope she doesn't mind saying this, but she came across to England, and her name was spelt Joke, like it's
Yorker,
yeah. And over here, obviously, it's joke.
It's a joke.
You can't be literally. Your name is literally a joke, and so she changed it to Yoka and Yoke.
Yeah.
And now obviously everyone pronounces that wrong, but otherwise she changed it from being called Joke.
Oh.
Is Joel Dommett your real name?
Joel Dommett is fully my real name. Yes,
Nonsense, okay.
Absolutely.
My real name's Ian Rugby, but I dropped...
Oh, really?
Yeah, it is. But Lee was my middle name, and you know when you get into show business and no one can spell or say it, and I had daddy issues, so I dropped the Rugby. But as I get older, I regret changing my name. I shouldn't have.
Well, how much did it cost? You could always switch it back.
£36.50.
Really?
It's amazing,
Yeah, you
isn't
do
it?
it online. It's brilliant.
You could be whoever you want.
Everyone changes like Ian Danger or something.
You're in danger.
I'm Ian Danger, and everyone thinks that you're saying you're in danger.
I quite like that. We'll take a break. Then we'll come back. We're gonna sell this book, guys. And we've got one to give away, haven't we?
Oh yes, yeah. Do take that one.
Oh,
yeah.
well, no, this is mine.
Oh, okay. I've got another one.
We've got a book to give away. I'm not going to do a quiz question because then it gets complicated, and then the rules come in, and then stuff. So
we're also not sending it to Mexico.
No, God, no, not to that deviant. So if you want a copy of Joel's book, first person that phones up and says, I'll have it, but try and muster some enthusiasm. Oh, yeah, go on, I'll take it off your hands. First person that phones up and says, yeah, I want Joel's book, you can have it. 0344 499 1000. This is Talk Radio.
The wild man of late night radio.
The Late Night Alternative with Iain Lee on Talk Radio.
We have ways of making you talk.
0344 499 1000 is the phone number. Joel Dommett is here. If you type in what those callers want for me, please, Sam, that would be delightful. The book is It's Not Me, It's Them, Confessions of a Hopeless Modern Romantic. You're still on tour, the fag end of a tour, really, isn't it? You've kind of...
Well, don't pitch it like that. It's like the best part of the tour, where he's like super...
Well, all the ones where he's just going through the motions because it's become... a faff, a chore. I don't know.
Which is it, Joel?
I mean, it's a bit of both, really. It's kind of the weird, because you get to the end of the tour, it's at its best because it's so sharp. You know everything works, everything's going, but you're more bored of it, so it hasn't got that, so
it's
you've
not got the nerves with it.
Yeah, you're slightly dead behind the eyes, but they are great eyes.
The last night of the tour, pranks. Do you do pranks on yourself?
Like a panto?
Practical jokes. Well, yeah. You come out and surprise yourself wearing a different, wearing flippers or something.
I tried. I did weirdly. Some reason I can't really remember why, but I didn't have any shoes one day. I left them in an Uber. I changed for the gym and I had my trainers and I didn't have any shoes. So this is just before Christmas. I did a show without my shoes on, without shoes or socks, like sort of.
So you
well, do you like Ian lead it? Yeah, absolutely.
That's how I roll.
And I felt it was nice. I felt like sort of Shakira. It was just like, it was really lovely and gave an entirely new vibe to the entire show.
Yeah.
It was great fun. I was running around. I felt like
makes
it was
a difference. I always do the radio. I take my watch off and I take my shoes off, and it just makes me feel a little bit dangerous. a little bit.
You're not signed up to time or sort of gravel.
No. Right, now put your headphones on because Emma's on the line. Good evening, Emma.
Evening.
What have you called in for?
Well, I heard there was a free book on offer.
Right. Okay, couple of questions. Who's the book by?
Joel Dommett.
And what's the book called?
It's Not Me, It's Them.
Okay. And why are you so tight that you can't buy it?
Because I'm super tight. I'm a buyer for the NHS. It's just like hardwired.
Oh.
You won that. You won that conversation.
She won that totally. Okay. Are you now listen. You can answer no. I'm not going to put you on the spot here, but I think one of the joys of us doing the Jungle and of doing this radio show is that sometimes people stumble in that don't necessarily know our work. Are you a fan of Joel's? Are you aware of his work?
Yeah, I've not seen a great deal of it other than The Jungle, but I watched the ITV2 show a lot, and I saw the year that he was on and thought he was fab.
Thank you, Emma.
Is the correct answer?
Yeah,
and is it just an aesthetic? Because let's be honest, he's a great looking guy. He's a great looking guy.
He's super cute, but my husband's listening in the other room, and he could probably get through to give me a dead arm before I finish
I
the
understand.
sentence.
You know what? I'm a fan of you because you work for the NHS. There we go.
Emma, listen.
We don't get paid much, so I'll take that.
Emma, listen. Well done. I'm going to pass you back to Sam. He'll take your name and address, and we'll send it out to you at some point, probably next week, because it doesn't come out for a couple of weeks, and we don't want to, get in trouble. But you'll have it in a week or two, okay?
Amazing. Thank you so much.
Stay on the line, Emma. Thank you very much, Sam. If you could take those details. Clive is on the line. Good evening, Clive.
Yes. Hello, Ian.
Hello, Clive.
I've got a question regarding some cheese.
Okay.
So he's a cheese expert, isn't he?
Yes, he is, yes.
What is the difference between Philadelphia and Dairy Lee?
Difference between Philadelphia and Dairy Lee?
Well, quite a big difference. I mean, I
Obviously.
personally, because I don't actually my dad would forbid the sort of Philadelphia or Dairy Lee in his shop because it was more of a sort of an independent trader. And he didn't want to sort of, bring himself down to such thing as Philadelphia and Dairy Lee and Baby Bell and such like that.
Of course, you can get mini Baby Bell but there's Big Baby Bell.
Unbelievable, and it's you can also get proper, brilliant, beautiful cheese that's similar to. I mean, just because it's not unwrappable, it doesn't mean it's not delicious. And
but isn't Dairy Lee and Philadelphia the same thing?
No, very different things. I'd say. Obviously Philadelphia is sort of a soft cream cheese, and
Dairy Lee's fun.
Dairy Lee is fun. I mean, even if it comes down to the shapes it's in, that often happens in cheese, doesn't it?
Hope that answers your question, Clive.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Let's go to... let's try... I mean, Jesus, let's rattle through this.
This is such a fun show.
Oh, God, it's hell. I hate this place. Let's speak to Bruce. Hello, Bruce.
Hi, Ian. Hi, Joel.
Hello there.
I'm looking forward to seeing Joel at Sheffield City Hall on Thursday, by the way.
Oh, what a wonderful plug. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. You're in town the same night as Toff, because Toff's appearing at Sheffield nightclub on Thursday night as well.
Oh, well, maybe we'll go visit her afterwards. This is great.
This is wonderful. If you want, Bruce, I can have a word with Toff and see if I can get you into the nightclub.
If that's right, it's the Viper Rooms. That's a good plug for her.
Genuinely, I think I might go visit Toff. I mean, I've only met her briefly after coming out of the jungle and on our show, but that might be quite nice.
She's lovely, Toff. I've not spoken to her since leaving the jungle, as I knew I wouldn't, because the winner... Who won your
Scarlett.
Of course she did. Yeah. And the winner, they kind of go off on their own wonderful, exciting journey of superstardom, don't they?
Absolutely.
Although, of course, you ended up working with Scarlett. So
I mean, it's great. I'm sort of riding on her coattails wonderfully.
Oh, God.
She's such a talented, wonderful human being, and to consider her my friend.
She is brilliant, and I thought she was so funny from the bits I saw of the show that you guys did. I mean, I'm a big fan of Joe Swash's anyway.
Yes.
I think he's wonderful. And I think one day the rest of the country will realise what we have in Joe Swash. But the bits I saw you two doing as well, you and Scarlett, I was blown away by. I thought it was funny. I thought you were both bang on. And the fact that she, I mean, you've not done live TV, but you've got a performing background. She ain't got a performing background, but she's as sharp as anything, isn't she?
Absolutely amazing. Like, there would be moments on the show where... over 10 years of doing stand-up, you sort of slightly understand what to say at certain moments, so you sort of teach yourself how to say a funny thing, and they would just say something naturally.
Yeah.
They were naturally as funny as I had sort of carved in 10 years of working hard, and it's just like... They're brilliant.
She was great. Anyway, Bruce, did you have a question?
Yeah, I've got a question for you, Ian. Have you written the speech for tomorrow night's TV awards? Because I know you said you were going to try and muscle Anton Deck.
I am now going to the National Television Awards only because I have been told that the award that I'm a Celebrity is up for is the first award. Yep. So I'm going to go with Shappy because we're both a little bit nervous, and I'm going to see that who wins that award, and then I'm getting a cab and I'm coming straight back here. I'm leaving early.
You're going to do a Jack Maynard.
I'm going to do that.
Was that too far?
No. Well. I've never met the lad, and I didn't know.
Of course you didn't.
Never met him. Never spoken to him. Isn't it? And no one knew anything about it. Anyway, that's. But yes, if I'm a Celebrity wins, obviously it'll be down to me, and and the crying and stuff. So I want to do something. Whether I go full Jarvis and Moon to the audience while Ant and Dec are doing their speech, I don't know. Whether I pull out a gun and take them hostage, I don't know, Joel. I want to make a statement.
Yeah, absolutely. What do you think you're going to do? What do you fancy?
Probably just stand there sheepishly at the back and nod and then walk off. I think it's probably going to be.
If you could do that and then wave my book in the background as well, that'd be absolutely fantastic.
Bruce, go and buy his book.
I will. I'll see if he's. Have you got a copy to bring to the Sheffield City Hall, by the way?
Oh, go away.
I think I have. I'm not sure, Bruce, but thank you so much. I'm excited to see you in Sheffield.
The book isn't out until February the 8th.
But you can pre-order now.
You can pre-order it now, and also if you order it you can order it from your website. Is that advice?
You can, yeah.
JoelDommett.com, double M, double T. If you order it from Amazon, sometimes their prices go up, and if you get in there early, you get just go and order it, for crying out loud.
Absolutely.
Let's try David Babcock. Good evening, David.
Oh, hang on, yes. Hello.
Yeah, okay. Hello, David.
Hi, Ian and Joel.
Hello there.
I hear there's a book going.
No, the book has gone, I'm afraid.
I'm sorry, mate. Sorry, there was only one.
Well, there are three, but one's going to me and one's going to Kath.
But there'll be some more in a couple of weeks, and you can buy one.
Yeah.
You don't have to buy things, right?
No. I was wondering, you spoke so honestly about your Skype thing earlier.
Oh.
Yes.
And the way you dealt with it.
Yeah.
I have a similar problem.
Oh, God.
Oh, okay.
Regular listeners to the show will know my plight with my Hoover.
David once phoned up because he was hoovering naked. And
he fell awkwardly, didn't he?
He claims he fell. Now, did the Hoover go up? It was Henry.
He was looking right at him.
And he fell forward on the Henry.
Forwards ways.
Yes.
If you fall back ways, then that's a colonic.
That was his hamster last week. But you fell forwards onto the Henry Hoover and it sucked you off.
Oh,
well, not exactly. Well, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Exactly that.
And how are you dealing with the shame?
Well, I'm trying quite open about it, like Joel. But I'm not planning on doing any shows based on the Hoover.
Okay. But I think it's best to be open about it. You just it's nothing to be embarrassed about. I think it's something that we all do, and it's I think
You've got Henry.
I'm gonna get Henry out when I get back, and but
own it, David.
Own it, David. Own it.
Hi, I'm David Babcock, and I got my willy stuck in a Hoover.
There we go. Thank you. Can you clip that, Sam, and send that to me? That's going to be.
This is such a great show.
Can you believe we're on the same station now as Julia Hartley-Brewer and Eamon Holmes, and we're doing this rubbish. The book is Joel Dommett, MMT. It's not me, it's them. We haven't really got. Are you going at 11?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't want to upstart my welcome.
You can stay as long as you want. If you want to stay after 11, you can stay after 11.
But
if you want to go,
if you're fed up, you can go.
You go whenever you want.
I'm having a great time. So we set a time. So they say I'm going to leave at 20 past 11.
Fine. That's a bit
God,
bit of a weird
he's watching
specific
the
time,
clock.
isn't it?
17 past. 17 past.
Let's say 13 past.
No, 13 past
20
11.
past 11. All right. Well, in that case, we won't rush the book thing. We'll do that after 11 with exactly what it's about, because we've not really talked about it.
Okay.
Did you? I went nuts when I came out of the jungle. We've got 2 minutes to the break to talk about my nuts head. But I went nuts coming out of the jungle because the whole, not necessarily the reaction to it, which is massive, but it's such a strange experience. And coming out of it, I felt discombobulated is the only word. I felt detached from reality, and I went nuts and done stuff that I haven't done for a long time and went a little bit crazy. Did you feel nuts when you came out?
I felt slightly crazy. My only saving grace is that I was filming this Joel and Nish versus the world.
Yeah.
So I told you this just a second ago, but I filmed the first episode before I did the jungle. And so I flew straight from Mongolia to the jungle, and then I filmed Kenya afterwards. And so I was back in England for 4 days where everyone cared about me, and it was all like, oh my God, jungle, jungle, jungle. And then I flew to Kenya, had no phone signal for a week. And, the Masai Mara didn't care at all about what I'd done.
They hadn't seen it, had they?
Unfortunately, they're not plugged in. And they didn't care. And also, you're trying to explain to them that you're like, guys, we lived on absolutely no food. And they're like, well, that's our life, so, okay, unfortunately for us, it's not televised. and so it just really brought me back down to earth. It was great. It was great for me. And it really helped. It helped me not to go nuts, I think. But then, and then also, I just was sort of, as soon as the new year started, continued filming that, and then went on tour. I think the main reason why I haven't gone completely crazy is that I haven't stopped yet. So I think the moment that I do stop, I think that's when it's going to go mad. When I suddenly it all dries up.
Well, I keep saying to Kath, I think the TV work's drying up a little bit now.
Yeah, and then he tells me 5 more things he's got to do that week.
Well, I'm guesting on Loose Women and Good Morning Britain all the flipping time, and
I keep reminding you that this you now, if you were having a conversation with you 6 months ago, you wouldn't believe your luck.
Well, I'd be thinking, this is weird. I'm having a conversation with future me.
Well,
that would be the weirdest thing. 0344 499 1000 is the telephone number. You can watch us on periscope.tv/Iain Lee. Joel Dommett is here for another 22 minutes and 20 seconds. Come and get it while it's hot, and boy, oh boy, he's hot. This is Talk Radio.
Across the UK, online and on DAB.
The wild man of late night radio, Iain Lee.
Differently interesting nocturnal emissions from a legend of late night radio. On air and off the leash.
The Late Night Alternative with Iain Lee on Talk Radio. We'll get you talking.
We've got 18 minutes of Joel Dommett, 0344 499 1000. I'm Iain Lee. Catherine Boyle is here. With so much we've learned during that break. It's incredible. 2 things we've learned. One, some people have known this, that you shaved off your beard during a break on a live TV show in the jungle.
Yep.
And the other
for a joke.
For a joke.
I just thought it'd be funny.
Oh, it's great. I love it. It's performance art. I dig all of that stuff. Neil Hannon of the Divine Comedy once did that. He had a beard for the first half of the show, came back from the interval, clean shaven. I think it's great. More people should play around with their facial hair.
I wanted to have the confidence to not mention it.
Yeah.
And to just carry on, but I couldn't do it. I had to be like, Yeah. And it was horrible. It's horrible for a couple of days.
And the other thing I learned, I don't think Katherine was here, maybe you knew this already, is that at one point you memorised... Well, what was it, pi?
I've got a tattoo of pi on my arm to 106 decimal places. And that's because it was my first ever tattoo, and it's because I memorised it to 106 decimal places when I was, I'm going to say, like 14.
Wow.
13, probably.
Why, just to show off?
Yeah, it was one of those. That was what I was like in school. I was so keen, I was disruptive.
I love it.
Like, it was like... They would be the teacher, Mrs. Bradley. She was like, "Okay, you need to memorise pi to 3 decimal places."
Oh, mate,
that's what you need to do.
I'll show you, Bradders.
We used to call her Mrs. Bradders. That's exactly. Of course we did. And came back, learned it to 106 decimal places, got up, wrote it on the board, got sent out. You know, it's like, that's the vibes.
She sent you out for it.
I mean, I was being very disruptive, like, made it all about me. I mean, who'd have thought I'd become a stand-up comedian?
But you only know it now to about 30.
Yeah, it's like, what's the 3.141592653589793238462643338327. I may be repeating myself. I don't know, something like that.
What was great, though, was to prove how hard he was, because it is tattooed on his arm and we can see it, as he started it, he put his arm down where he couldn't see it. He put his arm behind his back.
Even on the radio.
So that we couldn't see it. The book, let's sell this book, man. Come on, for goodness sakes. Joel Dommett, it's not me, it's them. Confessions of a Hopeless Modern Romantic. It's out on the 8th of February, but I would say pre-order it now, because you never know, they might not have printed enough. They just might not have. So get in there quick. First book you've written?
Yes.
And you said 90,000 words?
Yes.
It's always my thing, whenever I meet anyone who's written a book, how many words did you do?
Yeah.
Because I'm trying to write a book and I'm struggling, but I need to know a number of words.
You've just got to get it out. Like, honestly, that first draft is terrible.
Yeah.
But you've got to get it out. And then your second draft is better, third draft's way better, fourth draft you are so proud with, fifth draft you're like, this is the best thing ever.
Is it fifth draft? Forget that.
Don't think about that. Just write something down.
This is about you dating?
Yes.
And are these all real people in here?
Yeah, so it's all sort of various sort of collections of dating tales and I mean, with me, I feel like I've got a terrible luck in the way that things tend to go. I think you're very similar to me in the way that my lack of confidence is also a big issue with me. When I can get myself into certain scenarios, when my lack of confidence ruins it.
Yeah.
And so it's just silly tales. Like the catfish one is one that gets into it.
Yeah.
And it's just like, that's horrendous. And the tale of losing my virginity is in there. My first kiss. All that stuff.
So is the index just a list of women's names?
I'll have a look at the index is the numbers.
It's like the black book.
Because it's also diary entries, because I wrote a diary when I was 18.
Oh, mate.
And so it's like all my diary entries, which are absolutely ridiculous. So for instance, I'll give you a diary entry now. This is, let's go to 76. So this is from the 3rd of May 2004.
How old would you have been here?
2004, so 19.
Okay, here we go. Gosh, it's exciting.
Ouch.
And 19, this is from someone who didn't go to university. So this is like, okay, I grew up slowly. Okay, hey JD, I should point out, first of all of my diary entries were in a letter format to myself, which was absolutely wonderful.
Everything I've learned about you in the last 3 minutes has made me think you're bonkers, but I'm enjoying this. Okay, yes.
3rd of May 2004. Hey JD, not going to ring or text her today. It's up to her to contact me. If she doesn't, then I'll move to London and it'll be cool. Oh, it gets better. And it'll be cool. 10 press-ups. Go. Done. I literally went away.
You ordered yourself.
I did 10 press-ups and I came back. Got to look good for the 15 women I need to sleep with to get over Rose. First, I need to get good at sex. Speak tonight. Genuine. I cannot tell you how genuine this is. Genuine.
Can I ask you a question? How does one get good at sex?
I mean, who knows?
Wow.
Who knows? All I knew is I broke up with my first girlfriend, Rose, and I was just
hell-bent. And the number was 15.
Yeah. Yeah, and it was 15. And actually, there's another diary entry that says, I don't want to have sex with more than 40 people because that would be slutty. And so I say that. And so when I find the diary, when I was much older, I worked out and I was on 38. And so this book is about me trying to find the one before I reach 40.
Right, okay.
And the whole thing is encased within the first date.
Oh, that's wonderful. Have you changed the names?
I changed the names, yeah.
You're a gentleman.
I had to as well, legal reasons. But I changed them all to flowers because my mother is a garden designer, so I changed them all.
And have you spoken to any of the women in there? Or do you think that they will get in touch once the book comes out?
Basically, I would. I mean, this is completely making me changing the names completely pointless. But I basically would change the names and like their hair colour. So like, hopefully they wouldn't have a problem with it. And
plus, he's not texting them anymore. Remember,
not texting them anymore. It's absolutely. And also, there's I mean, the ones that would care, I got in contact with.
Okay.
So there's a few in there that I've like made sure it's okay. But the rest of them, you know,
that's a brave thing. This is another similarity I think we have, is I often I often consider the fact that maybe on this radio show I overshare and I'm too honest about myself and too honest about what's going on up here and stuff that's going on in my life. It sounds like you've doubled down and you've put everything in there.
Yeah, I really have. I did I did this sort of run through for a show today. And it was about fan fiction. And so it turned out when I left the jungle, someone had written 70,000 words fan fiction about the jungle, about me, and written from the perspective of someone who was an Olympian swimmer. And us, like, getting on in the jungle and leaving, having a relationship.
Welcome to the club, yeah.
So have you got one as well?
Not quite as extensive as that, but there's a couple of fan fictions about me in the jungle, yeah.
Absolutely.
They're not too
amazing.
rude, though, yours, are they? Were yours filthy?
But no, not really. They were dirty in bits and bobs. I hadn't read the whole thing, but they showed me extracts today, and it was fascinating. It was so funny. Yeah. And it was all like flirting in the jungle and kissing and deciding to be girlfriend and boyfriend in the jungle. Yeah. And then we left and then made it a relationship and all this stuff. And then, like, you know, we had sex for the first time. I was reading this stuff, really getting into it, being like, oh, this is about me. And then this is the best bit. The last page is like a sort of what's going to happen in the future with us. And it was like, we've been together a year now. And it's amazing, and it's still wonderful. Our love is still so strong. And it says, Joel works a lot less now. And I was just like, oh right, thanks guys, thanks for that. And it's just like, I'm training for the Olympics and blah blah blah. It was
we
great.
read out some of our fan fiction, well, my fan fiction, and then I spoke to.
You made me read it, which I think is sick.
Well, here's the thing. I'm going to say something that's going to make us all slightly uncomfortable. One of the people that wrote it tweeted me.
Wow.
Yeah. She's 15. Anyway.
Oh,
really? Okay, that explains why it's just snogging.
Yeah, that would explain
goodness.
it. Yes.
That's great.
Yes.
Oh, that's good. That's nice that it's just snogging. It's just lovely.
But hang on. I'm 44. I'm still not snogging 15-year-olds.
No.
She's not really a TV researcher either, so...
which is the role that she had. But is there any anything? I suppose once you've had something revealed like the sex tape, anything else you reveal is not going to be as, in inverted commas, as bad as that, is it? I was going to say, do you have any kind of line that you won't cross in what you'll talk about in your personal life?
Not really. They asked me this today, and I was like, it's fine. I don't, because I use stand-up as a sort of therapy.
Yeah.
I sort of get out there, and my best way of dealing with something is just to say it out loud.
So if crappy things happen, you think, oh, OK, at least I can use it for this.
Genuinely, yeah. And it's... if I'm feeling down about something, I just try and say it, and it's and it really is so cathartic. It's such a good way, and it might not even be funny to start off with, but you slowly carve something into it to make it worth listening to.
Wait, because this is what I use the radio. This is my therapy now. Although I've started seeing another bloke again, but this is my free therapy.
Yes.
You know, is kind of coming and working through. All kinds of complex
and weirdly,
issues.
the book became that on another level.
Yeah.
It was like so not because like even on stage when I go and will tell a story, you are very aware that you have to edit that down to a sort of a story which people actually want to listen to. Whereas in a book, it gives you an extra license to be able to give details that you would never be able to give on stage, and you can really colour the whole situation. And it was so liberating.
Are you still lacking self-confidence?
I suppose I do, yeah, in certain aspects. But it's I think in this industry, if you don't lack a confidence, then you become an idiot.
Yeah.
Really quickly, really quickly. If you have you've got to have a certain level of ego, but I think it's so healthy to have a certain level of just like insecurity. And those two things together are healthy, but what too much of one or too much of the other makes you an absolute insane person. And I think the right level of both makes you a successful creative human.
Here's a question from out of nowhere. Were you asked to host that Chevy Chase thing?
Oh my God, yes!
Right, can we talk about that?
Yes,
because
please, yes.
Last week, that's okay, I spat at you earlier, we're quits. Last week we did a whole hour and a half of the show about that. We played audio from it. We had about 6, 7, 8 people that went to it.
Wow.
None of whom paid full price.
Yeah, no one paid for. Everyone got tickets like a tenner or got moved up the front. And a friend of mine in TV said, I heard a rumour that Joel Dommett had been asked to do it, but I don't know if that's true or not. Is that
absolutely true?
So can you talk about that?
Well, I don't know. I mean, basically, me and my agent, he was like, this really weird thing's come in. and this is the weird thing, that he went, he copied me in the original email, and it said, we hear that Joel Dommett is a massive fan of Chevy Chase, and he tells everyone that he's a massive fan. I mean, I'm a fan as much as the next guy of Chevy Chase, but I've never told anyone that I'm a fan of Chevy. Like,
you've watched National Lampoons.
I've done that, I've done that. I've watched Community, and it's like, I've done that. But I'm no more a Chevy Chase fan than the next person in the street, and so they are lying.
Maybe they're confused with Joel Lycett. Maybe he's a big Chevy Chase fan.
Maybe, and it's. So
how long before the thing did you get that shout?
Remarkably late, and I was in the jungle. I was watching you in the jungle whilst I was making this decision.
Oh wow! Okay.
And one of the writers came in one day. I was like, I bought tickets to go see Chevy Chase live at Hammersmith Apollo, and I was like, I'm supposed to be hosting it, but I haven't said yes yet. Because we were umming and ahhing about it. And first of all, they said, don't worry, you don't have to write your own questions. And I was like, okay, well, that's brilliant. Whether you do it, and it would be fun, because I know how to interview people.
Yeah, of course.
And it's fine, and we'll have a chat, and apparently he's sort of notoriously difficult.
Yeah.
And, I'd try and have fun with it. And my thing with anything is, at least I'll get a story out of it.
Yeah.
If things that I think are going to be weird, do it, you'll get a story out of it, and you can tell it on stage. And so I basically said yes. And then it went away for a bit. And then they came back and said, oh, sorry, you'd have to write your own questions. And that was me kind of out.
Yeah.
Because I didn't feel like I was going to be able to write questions that were interesting enough for people who would, for 2,000 people that would pay tickets to see Chevy Chase.
Yeah.
And so I was kind of like, and I was so busy with stuff, and I would have just come back from holiday, and I was going to have to spend the entire Christmas watching, Chevy Chase movies, and so
it turns out you wouldn't. You just need to ask him about, like...
You just need to take your guitar and rock up and ask him about tennis.
And when I heard that, I was like, oh my God, This is insane. So, and also, I love that he was my plan B. Like, he was like, oh, Joel Dommett can't do it. Let's get Mike Reed. That's just unbelievable.
It is, because I am quite a big Chevy Chase fan, and I was in Good Morning Britain that morning that he was there, and I've heard that, I was literally, as he walked past my dressing room, I was on the website, Why is Chevy Chase such an asshole? And he is famously very, very tricky, so I didn't speak to him when he was at Good Morning Britain. But by all accounts, that night, he was on top form.
Great.
He was thrilled.
Were you there?
No, I didn't go. I was going to, and then I didn't. And
we wish we'd gone.
Well, he was on top form. He was humbled that so many people had come, but it was just a car crash. And people were saying the highlight of the evening was when someone shouted out, Mike Reed, you're a twat.
Yeah.
But everyone who phoned up said, do you know what? It was the best night I've ever been to for all the wrong reasons. And I feel like I've seen something very, very special.
And that is what's beautiful about English people. Like, that is so beautiful. I think that if that happened in America, people would be like, oh, my God, man, that was just an absolute disaster.
Yeah.
Everyone, like, they were having a horrible time. It was awkward. But, like, in England, we're like, cannot wait to go to the office on Monday and say that something was terrible.
And not one of the people that we spoke to said they wanted their money back. Not one.
No. Yeah, of course.
Well, they had all paid like a tenner.
Yeah, but still, Americans would want their money back, right?
That's true.
I tell you what, we got 2 more minutes of your self-imposed, slightly rude exile. But we've got Jay and we've got Craig. I think want to talk to you. Jay's been waiting for ages. Jay, you're through to Joel.
Oh, hello, everybody. I haven't been waiting for that long. It's been all right.
All right, well, I'll put you on hold again if you want. Yeah.
No, don't do that. Let's not rush to things. Joe, I enjoy you on. I've heard you on lots of things, podcasts and radio things and stuff, but I don't know what you look like. Which one are you? Were you one of the ones that got stuck in New York?
No, I'm not one of the ones that's still stuck in New York. No, that was my friend James Acaster, Ed Gamble, and John Robbins.
What happened to them?
They went over to for New Year's to New York, and they got stuck in the snow, and they couldn't come back. They had to be there for an extra 5 days. Or something.
No way!
And it became weirdly on the BBC News, and it was like the comic stuck in New York.
Oh, that's incredible!
And I've since been for lunch with James, and he said it was like the best thing ever because there was no pressure. They just were like enjoying themselves, having this extra time. Yeah.
Fantastic. Well,
but you're in that group, aren't you, of comedians?
Yes.
That school of comedians, aren't you? And I've heard you on things before, but I'm not seeing you anything.
Well, Jay, I don't know. Have you got a computer?
Jay, do not Google me. That's all I can say. Don't Google me, mate. That is.
I'm worried about Googling now from some of the stories.
Exactly. It's dangerous territory, mate.
The tour dates are on joeldommett.com. Is that right?
I'm going to go and check that out.
Go on, have a chat.
So you're not the diabetic one, or the one that's
no, that's Ed Gamble. Ed Gamble. And but no, I'm the fully healthy kind of intake sugar and I'm just a simple, nice guy.
It was. I wouldn't say it was simple. I wouldn't say it was nice either. You can see the demands.
He's definitely a guy.
Making. Well, again, we need to get the results back from the laboratory. Craig, did you want to speak to Joel? Hello, Craig? I'm going to take that as a no.
Oh,
rude.
A
on that bombshell.
But it's perfect timing because we were over on my 17 past.
No, it's awful. Hey, listen, man, it's so nice to see you. Thank you for coming in.
Absolute pleasure to be here. What a wonderful show.
Best of luck with the book. Do you want to... Now, that's my copy. Have you got a copy that you can sign for Emma?
Oh, yes, let's do it. Have we got a better pen, or should we do it with
Sharpie
Biro?
Out there, hang on.
We got a Sharpie.
But I'm really concerned that you're going to sign my book and give my book away because I just.
I've got one in my bag as well.
Let's just sort this out, guys. Let's sort this out proper. Thank you so much for coming in. JoelDommett.com, MMT. What are you at, Joel Dommett? Is that?
It's at Joel Dommett on all social media platforms.
You go. Find him and stuff. The book is It's Not Me, It's Them. You can pre-order it now from all the usual places. 0344 499 1000. This is Talk Radio.
The Late Night Alternative with Iain Lee on Talk Radio. We'll get you talking.
Thank you, Joel. 0344 499 1000 is the telephone number. Speaking of books, I started listening to the Art Garfunkel autobiography audiobook. That guy is nuts. Honestly, I can't make head nor tail of what he's talking about. It makes no sense. I wonder if I've got it on this computer, because I'd play you a bit. I don't know if I've got it on. I should have it on this computer. Hang on. audiobooks. It is... here we go. I'll play a bit when Kath comes, because there's a bit I want to hear. It's all over the place. His voice is delicious. It's like a rich chocolate cake. He sounds a lot like Michael Nesmith does now. And it starts off quite linear and kind of making sense. And then it just goes all over the place. All over the place. It is weird and rambling, and I don't understand a single word of it, but God almighty, it's wonderful to listen to. I finally finished the Bob Dylan audiobook I was listening to. 27 hours. 27 hours. I started that on my flight over to Australia. And alive, time out of mind. But what is It All But Luminous by Art Garfunkel? Flippin' heck. That's some weird book. This is the Late Night Alternative on Talk Radio. I'm Iain Lee. Every Monday to Friday, 10 o'clock till 1 o'clock. You can listen on DAB. You can download the Talk Radio app, or, of course, you can listen online at talkradio.co.uk. And tonight, you can watch the show live on periscope.tv/Iain Lee. If you're sticking around because you were listening to Joel and you want to listen to a bit more, it's a phone-in show unlike any other. And I'm going to sit here and I'm going to talk to you about stuff that's in the papers and stuff that's happened to me over the weekend and stuff that's going on in my head. And you are welcome to call in about any of that stuff or about anything else that's going on for you. Maybe there is a news story that you think we should be covering. Maybe there something dramatic has happened to you over the weekend. Or maybe you just want to phone in for a chat. It's all good, man. It's all good. You know, if you're waiting for me to set the question, then you're probably going to be a little bit disappointed, because that's not really what we do here. 0344 499 1000 is the telephone number. 0344 499 1000 is the telephone number if you want to give us a call. Probably free for most phone packages, pennies at most, and then you'll speak to Sam and he'll take your name and number and he'll give you a call back. Let's go to Kadir. Good evening, Kadir.
How you doing?
Good, thank you, Kadir. What have you got for us?
I saw you in the coffee shop, if you remember. That was nice. Basically, I was wanted to say you shouldn't be paying for deed polls. You shouldn't be paying for deed polls. They're all a scam, Ian.
Haven't you told me this before?
The reason? No.
Okay,
of course not. Okay. Basically, you can make your own deed poll. They're not really an official document. You just write out what you want. And the companies that sell them aren't official by any means.
Well, no, I did
your own deed poll company.
Okay. Well, it was only. Well, the thing is, you need to get a form, a legal form, saying that you've changed your name.
You don't.
Mate. I tell you, Kadir. I tell you what, mate. You try and get power of attorney when you've changed your name. You try doing that without the legal document. You try and speak to the Department of Work and Pensions when you've changed your name and you haven't got the official document. You go and try doing that and see where you get.
You can have it witnessed for about £5 by a lawyer.
Kadir, you've got to purchase the form. You've got to have. They can't be copies. You've got to buy a different, unique copy for each thing. You have to get them.
Yeah, I know, but you can write your own out. You can affix your own...
No, you can't, Kadir. You need to get the official document that shows you've changed your name.
That's not a real thing. These companies that do it, they're not real,
Kadir, mate, honestly, you go and... You tell you what, you go and try and get power of attorney for someone when you've changed your name without that document. See how you get on.
I was thinking of changing it to Alex Saxon once, because
why don't you change it to irritating idiot who's full of shit? Seriously, you go and you try and get power of attorney when you've changed your name without that document. Try it and let me know how you get on.
Okay, I'll give it a go. I'll add a middle name or something.
No, you try. No. You try and change your last name and then try and get power of attorney. You try and do that.
I don't have anyone to give my power to. So
right, exactly. So you haven't got a clue what you need to get those things done, and you can't just change it and then go and get all of these things done without the right documents, Kadir.
That's your opinion, but sure.
No. It's not my opinion, mate. I've lived it. It's fact.
Well, you've got a bad solicitor then. You're working with bad people.
No, well, I tell you what I've got, Kadir, is I've got arsehole callers who think they know everything and they don't know anything at all, and they're a right pain in the backside. That's what I've got. Dear God. Seriously, I've changed my name, and I know what you've got to do. Guys, and I know that you have to get a form. Every letter you send off to the bank, to the mortgage people, to the power of attorney, to the DWP, to the council, everything, you've got to send them the official form, and it can't be a photocopy, and each form costs, it did cost £12.50, I don't know how much it costs now, and you've got to send them off, and they don't always send them back to show that you have changed your name legally. You have to do that, I'm afraid. So, thanks very much indeed. God, that guy drives me round the wall.
I noticed.
Jeez. I mean, God, for God's sakes. Is it just me, or is there something really creepy about him? There's something really creepy. I'm going to say it. There's something creepy. That thing about, I hope you enjoyed your coffee in the coffee shop. That's because I did a Facebook Live and he popped up on it. Yeah. It's just something, I don't know, am I being unfair? But it's creepy, man. It's creepy, and it really annoys me. 0344 499 1000. So I've been listening to the Art Garfunkel book.
Right, how's that going?
He's nuts.
Oh.
He's nuts, right? I'm listening. I'm about 35 minutes into it. I haven't got a clue what's going on. But I want to play you one bit, and I've got to try...
I became aware that Alan Freed...
Okay. Oh, his voice sounds wonderful. He sounds like Mike Nesmith now. But there's one bit in particular, and I'll try and find it. It's about 18 minutes in. Okay, bear with me. Oh, hang on, where are we?
I mustn't tell a soul that I'm doing this puzzle. 1,000 pieces of Vincent van Gogh. Looks like a sower in a flat March field.
It's a bit where he starts talking about him and Paul Simon in the basement.
Or an April Fool at sunset.
What?
I am with Vincent and the gorgeous madness. Riot of beauty gone over the top.
Huh?
Salmon purple, lime and brown, dusty rose and gold. Under the South Pacific, I have seen the fish at the barrier reef, their sides beyond Matisse, their vibrancy more beautiful than anything I have seen on earth, except for Vincent. I want to leave this jigsaw and get on with my day, but piece by piece I am held in awe by the fractured profusion, the jaw-dropping genius.
He's talking about doing a jigsaw.
Yeah.
Use of magnificent dissonant colour. So I am found in my eyrie, bound to the brain of the insane Dutchman of days gone by.
What a great line.
How we suffer sensitivity, staying in, cast in our spells. Talent will out.
Isn't it great?
Beauty compels.
Hang on, it's coming up.
Having skipped a grade, we reached our senior year of high school, about to turn 16.
Here we go.
We were discouraged in our attempts to be a popular duo. At the end of the summer of 57, we met up. Paul, did you hear Hey Doll Baby over the summer? I had. We groped to remember it and sketched out an entire song. By the time we heard the real Everly tune, we saw it was quite different from our sketch. Our Hey Doll Baby was our own creation. We called it Hey Schoolgirl and took it to Sanders Recording Studio on 7th Avenue in Manhattan to make a demo for $7. It was to be our last shot before we gave up as an act. But a man named Sidney Prosen...
I wonder if there's a bit I really want to find. We could be here all night, but I thought it was around about there. Let me try here.
At 12, I was in my 7th year of being a singer when Paul and I got together. We became rehearsal freaks of fine exactitude. We did our version of doo-wop, copying Dion and the Belmonts. We wrote a guy named Joe. We fused rock and roll with country, rockabilly, the way Buddy Holly did. But it all took flight when Don and Phil Everly started having hits in 1956. We fell out over their sound. Every syllable of every word of every line had a shine, a great Kentucky inflection, charisma in the diction. From moment to moment, they worked the mic with star quality. The Everlys were our models. Paul and I wrote our songs together and practiced getting a tooled, very detailed accuracy of our harmony. We came together with mouths a foot apart, under a dome of very fine listening, and fashioned a sonic entity of its own. I mustn't tell a soul.
There's a bit, I can't find it, it's around there somewhere, where he talks about them, the basement in Paul's house that they used to rehearse in. Indulge me one more bit, because it's around here.
I want to hear him read Joel Dommett's book.
Oh, man.
Our stuff. Anybody looking for material here? Rejections came after 15 seconds of sincere, heart-in-your-mouth auditions. What else you got? It was so good that Paul and I had each other, so amazing we had the guts to cross into their world. But that was the world of the records we loved and bought. We read the record company addresses off the labels. One guy, Morty Kraft, in 1650 Broadway, signed us and locked us away from all competition for 6 months. We knew that trick. With Prosen, we demanded release of our record within 90 days, and he gave it to us. That fall, at Bell Sound on 34th Street, we recorded Hey Schoolgirl. Paul's daddy played bass on the session. It went to number 40 on the national charts, selling 150,000 copies. Suddenly, we were a something in school. We had cred. We were the guys with the record on the radio. We were Tom and Jerry. Someday I will write the show-off book. I'll talk about doing Hey Schoolgirl with Paul on Dick Clark's American Bandstand in Philadelphia on Thanksgiving 1957. Jerry Lee Lewis was the other guest. I see those giant stacks of fan mail lining the studio hallways. They were sent to the dancing kids, the heartthrobs. I had my own crush watching TV after school. Now I was at the urinal just before airtime, peeing next to one of the young stars. And then that year we were part of a stage review at the Hartford State Theater that featured Laverne Baker singing Jim Dandy to the rescue. 10 acts. We were the only whites. High school cred. Then in 1958 comes Betrayal.
Oh. I can't find it. It basically, he says, and in the basement, Paul and I would be with a girl each, making out, listening to records. We showed each other our own forms of masturbation.
Oh, God.
Mine involved a hand. And you're thinking, well, hang on, well, what did Paul Simon's version of masturbation involve then? What was going on there? It's such a wonderful book. That bit there, actually, that I've played, that's kind of all makes sense. After that, though, boom.
Well, that made sense.
Yeah, that's the bit that makes sense. After that, it's all over the place.
Wow, Art Garfunkel, eh?
It's all over the place. Good evening, Daniel.
Hello, Ian. Hello, Kath.
Hello.
Hello, Daniel.
Where's your line for boredom?
Sorry?
Well, that was boring. Haven't you got a line where you close the book and stop?
No. Well, yeah, but I didn't find that boring.
Oh, yeah. Anyway, going back to Kadir, you're still going to call up tomorrow, Kadir will.
Okay. You know my line for boredom? It's there. Hey, Matt.
Hello?
Hello, Matt.
Oh, hi, sorry, my phone cut out, just as you said my name.
Oh, there we go. These things happen. What have you got for us, Matt?
I was just going to annoy you by telling you that, unfortunately, and much as I hate to contradict, Kadir was actually right about deed polls. You can do your own.
Okay, but this is Kadir.
I know, and I'm really sorry because it makes me sound like I'm taking sides with a complete hat stand. But
no, but you sound like Kadir, and you're calling in from a withheld number.
I'm not calling in from a withheld number. And this is not Kadir.
You sound exactly like Kadir.
I don't sound a thing like him. How dare you?
You sound exactly like Kadir.
I hate you so much right now.
Thanks very much. Well, OK, well, you try... OK, well, then you go and talk to the DWP. You try and get power of attorney without that document that says that you have changed your name.
Oh no, I'm sure if he went to something official like that, especially to get power of attorney with a self-done deed poll, they'd probably tell you to go away, and they'd be perfectly within their right to do so. But
well, exactly. Well, then there you go. Yes, of course you can. But Matt, you're arguing against yourself. Of course you can. Anyone can change their name. You just change your name. But if you want it to be official, then you need to get it done properly, and you need those documents. Otherwise, you can't get nothing done.
We can get a passport and a driving licence with that, apparently. But anyway, because I only know this because my brother did it, and that was just a little thing I thought I'd mention. I don't know. I wish I hadn't.
Well, no, because you can't change the name on your driving licence without either a marriage certificate or without the deed poll form.
From what I understand from what my brother did, he changed his driving licence and his passport, having changed his name by writing a deed poll and having it witnessed by 2 solicitors.
OK, so did he have a form?
I don't think so. But what I remember,
so he just phoned up the DVLA and said, "I've changed my last name from Smith to Jones. Can you amend my driving licence?"
No, he had to write out the form or type it out with certain wording that I think he got off a government website, which gave his existing name and his current address, and then he changed, and the name I'm changing to is the following, and then he had to get it witnessed and notarised.
Right, OK, so hang on, suddenly you're getting witnesses and getting things notarised. Well, get a form.
No, I suppose so, yeah. I mean, this wasn't the purpose for my calling in at all. It's just one of the things that came up while I was waiting.
OK, go on then. Well, hang on, now someone's telling me you can write the deed yourself, but you have to enrol the deed with the court, and that costs £36.
I don't know about that. All I'm going on is from the memory of my brother did it a few years ago.
Who's changed their name here? This guy, right? I know what you've got to do. Who's had to deal with all of these government agencies, and when they've said, what your name is what? You've got to provide them with you can't just send them a little thing saying, yeah, I used to be called Smith, but now I'm called Jones.
Okay, and you've done it. I was literally, as I was waiting to get through, I was just heard the call, and I thought, well, yes, that sounds like something I remember.
Okay. Anyway, what did you call in for?
Well, actually, because I was listening to one of the catch-up podcasts today from a couple of nights ago, and you were doing quirky covers.
Oh, yes.
And I wondered if you'd heard of a character called the Puddles Pity Party. Oh,
yeah, no, I have, because Howard Kalin from the Turtles is always going on about him, and he's that giant clown that does really sombre versions of songs, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's done a great one. The only one I'm really familiar with is cover of Royals by Lord.
Oh, I don't.
And we'll never be royals, you know.
I don't know the song. Do you know the song, Katherine?
Yeah, I do, especially the way Matt sang it.
And we'll never be royals, with that don't run in our blood. That one.
Hang on a second. I think he was referring to this. You see, this is.
Oh God.
Yeah,
already, it's terrifying.
I've never seen a diamond in the flesh. I cut my teeth on wedding rings in the movies, and I'm not proud of my address. In a torn up town, no postcode envy, but every song's like gold teeth, grey goose tripping in the bathroom, bloodstains, ball gowns, trash in the hotel room. We don't care. We're driving Cadillacs in our dreams, but everybody's like Crystal, Maybach, diamonds on your timepiece, jet planes, islands, tigers on a gold leash. We don't care. We aren't caught up in your love affair, and we'll never be royals. It don't run in our blood. That kind of luck just ain't for us. We crave a different kind of buzz. Let me be your ruler.
That's amazing, isn't it?
It's great, isn't it?
That's incredible.
Most amazing voice on that guy that you would never expect.
Flipping heck. We'll have some of that. I like that. Thank you for that. Cheers, Matt.
Pleasure. Bye-bye.
Ta-ta. 03444991000. This is Talk Radio.
It's electric, it's eclectic, it's always rule-free. It's the late-night alternative with that man, Iain Lee.
On Talk Radio.
Is that better?
There we go. That's better. Just changing the periscope, guys, so that you can see the bit of skirt. Now, 0344 499 1000 is the telephone number. Good evening, Ewan.
Good evening. Hello.
Hello there.
Well, I did try to ring on Friday, but it was no luck.
Okay. What were you doing on Friday?
Well, I did try on Thursday evening as well. I just wanted to give you an update as regarding on my canoeing trip.
Hey! Ewan was going canoeing.
We told you to say no.
Just say no to the canoe.
Well, I did manage to go, but I persuaded myself not to take part. What I done was we got ready at the college, and they said just wait it, so the other students don't say, oh, well, he's not doing it, so I don't want to do it.
Oh,
so
they thought you might be a bad influence, that your laziness would be contagious.
Yes. So I went anyway, and then because two people went in the boat, but they was not good.
Died.
So, yeah, so they, in the middle of the river, they jumped into another one with, because two teachers went on their own, so one girl went in with one teacher and one went in with the other.
So it's almost like I'm there, yes.
Yeah, so I had to, because of the long rope, I had to pull this boat down this river when I was walking up the banking. And then, yeah, when we got to a certain point, we took the boat off the thing and put it onto the trailer.
Yes.
And then I was walking down, and then, because you can have three in the boat, when you have two people rowing, one sitting in the middle, and the teacher kept nagging, saying, Iain, are you sure you don't want to, Iain? Are you sure you don't want to come in?
Did you have cocks?
Pardon?
Did you have cocks?
No.
No cocks?
Not in a canoe. There's not room.
Well, there were three people in a boat. I thought you'd have to have cocks.
A little one.
No cocks at the weekend. Okay.
It was on a Thursday.
Oh, kind of. It was Thursday cocks.
Yeah. So I was they said. So I was like, oh, go on then. So I just got in the middle, and then the people that was behind us were splashing us. So I got on the boat, but I didn't do any rowing. I just sat there.
Listen to His Majesty. Yes, listen to His Majesty here again. I'll get in the boat, but I'm not doing any rowing.
Yeah, and they were splashing people. They was having two people these two boys when they go past us. They were splashing us. And they were soaking because they was wearing their clothes, but I was wearing the safety gear over my clothes. So when we got to the boat, I just took the safety gear off, and I was dry as hell. But with the other people, they were soaking, and they had to get changed. But there was no need for me because I was nice and dry.
Dry, yeah.
Nice and dry. So what were you? They were just like wearing like jumpers and jeans.
Well, joggers, yeah, and just big jumpers like this.
And what, you had a cagoule on?
Yeah, the safety outfit with like red trousers and red thing.
So you looked like a pudding, but you were dry as hell.
Yeah, but my feet was wet because they were splashing, and because I had no trainers for college and for Christmas. And
there's nothing worse.
There's a
few things. There's nothing worse than squidgy feet. When every time you step, you squidge.
It's like when my youngest wet herself in the book department.
Sorry, is that a euphemism?
No, you know my dad used to take her out.
Oh yeah,
for a coffee and a bun. He had their coffee.
At Starbucks.
Starbucks, but it was in the bookshop. And before they went up there, they would have a look in the children's section, and they were in the children's section when Little announced that she'd done a wee-wee. Hey. So my dad, being the responsible adult, got a hold of her hand and they legged it.
Did a runner?
I say they legged it. She squelched out the door.
Oh, well, you've seen the buns I've just ordered myself for a treat. 6 cupcakes for Thursday.
Hang on a minute, I'm confused. Did you say you'd ordered yourself a belt and 6 cupcakes?
Bund.
No, I've ordered myself a bag of 6 cupcakes for Thursday as a treat.
A bag? There's one word I'm missing. You've ordered yourself a
bulk, like when you buy something in a crate.
Bulk.
A bulk?
Yeah.
A bulk? You saying bulk?
Yeah, like when you buy something, like instead of buying something on its own, you buy more than one.
You buy in
You
bulk.
buy it in bulk?
Yeah.
But bulk, no, but if he's saying bulk, he means B-A-L-K.
You say milk.
I don't know. I'm not good with my
No, the English language is such a... It's one of the hardest languages in the world.
Yeah.
Here's the thing, right? Imagine you were... all right, imagine you were Chinese, okay?
Yeah.
You had to learn English.
Mm.
And I deliberately didn't pick, like one of the continental ones, because English comes from a lot of the continental.
No.
Yes, it does.
No, it doesn't really.
Yes, it does.
More German.
No, yeah, well, where is Germany?
Well, yeah, but
exactly.
most of the continental languages are Romance languages.
No. How big is Germany?
Well,
right, percentage-wise, and how much of...
Not as big as France.
No. Okay, but what's the population? Let's try that straw. I'm going to grasp that. What's the population of Germany?
I don't know.
It's probably about 100 million.
Go on.
And the population of France is probably about 40 million. So it's 60% more bigger in there.
More bigger.
Well, what's the population of the UK?
None of your business!
Ewan, do you speak Welsh?
No.
Oh.
Good.
No,
it's a dying language. Let's put it out of its misery.
But I don't speak Welsh.
Good, you shouldn't. And we shouldn't speak Kurno and we shouldn't speak Greek. They're dying languages. Let's put them out of their misery.
What's Kurno?
Sorry?
It's boring when you go to...
well, hang on a second. Catherine's about to be destroyed here.
What's Kurno?
Sorry? Well, what do you think Kurno is?
I don't know.
It's Cornish.
I never heard of it before.
Oh, you could? Oh, mate. Brap. Totally, yeah, Kurno. They speak. It's their own language. You know what Kurnos are?
No.
Oh,
stop brapping me and educate me. Don't you join in?
If anyone wants to phone up and brap Kath, right, between now and midnight, don't answer the phone, Sam. We're taking calls straight to air. Phone up and brap Kath. Go on, you and brapper.
Okay, he's a college student. You're a dad.
Exactly, I'm a dad. Do that again.
I know how to take part in stuff because I'm a radio DJ myself.
Hey! He knows how to take part in stuff because he's a radio DJ himself.
As I got the ideas when we done a 24-hour marathon for children in need.
No, marathons are 26 miles. They're not 24 hours.
No, we have to stay on, because we are...
Hang on a minute.
Oh, no, come on.
Line 1, you're through to Kath. It's the Brapped... 03444991000. Let's go to line 2. Line 2, you're through to Kath.
If I recognise any of your voices, you're dead.
She can't see the screen.
But I know voices.
Your names are perfectly safe. I will not be revealing anybody's name that calls in. Trust me, you can trust me on that. You have complete anonymity. I will just put you through. We've got 3 minutes, then we're going to a break, and the Brapped line will be closed. So if you want to phone up, I promise you, I will respect your anonymity. I will not say your names. You'll just come through. You'll brap Kath as long as you want, then you put the phone down. 0344 499 1000.
Ask yourself, are you feeling lucky?
Here we go. Line 1, you're through to Kath.
Brap.
Right, that's dumb. I'm taking names.
Line 2, you're on the wireless. You're through to Kath.
Hello, Kath.
Let's go to Siege. Let's go to Anonymous. Hello, Anonymous.
CJ?
Well, that may have been my fault. Right?
Well,
that's Ewan doing it again.
you are dead, mate.
Ewan, whose army?
Doesn't need an army.
Well, Ewan, can I just say, Ewan, shame on you as a young man for encouraging bullying on the radio.
Yeah, I'm you mostly.
Yeah, Ewan.
Joining in.
Yeah, exactly, Ewan. You're bang out of order, mate. She's a good mate of mine. So, are you tutting? Are you tutting? Oh, if you want to phone up and tut Ewan for encouraging bullying. So we're only
No.
taking calls now of people phoning up and tutting Ewan. Hello, caller.
I just want to say, it's almost...
That's Spooky Lou.
Line 2, you're through to Ewan. Do you want to tut him?
Right.
OK, that's another brat. We're really desperate to try and move.
Never going to move on.
We've got a minute and 20
Someone,
seconds.
come on, out there, you must scare me.
Keith, you're Anonymous, you're through to Ewan.
I'm robbing my...
Okay,
Keith, I know that was you.
That was Keith, and I'm going to say that because he should have been tutting.
Keith.
He should have been tutting Ewan, the
He's
bully.
going to be rubbing his ribs on his own.
Line 2, you're through to Ewan. Line 1, you're through to Ewan. Okay.
That's not tutting.
That's naughty.
Line 2, you're through to Ewan. That was Sanjay.
Sanjay.
This one's Hannah. Just write this one down.
Okay.
Hello, Anonymous Line 1. You're through to Ewan.
Well.
Okay. And finally, Line 4. You're through to Ewan. There we go. Ewan, I hope you feel you've learnt your lesson.
Yeah.
There we go. Well, I'm glad that ended on a happy note. This is Talk Radio.
The Late Night Alternative with Iain Lee on Talk Radio.
We have ways of making you
I'm
talk.
David Babcock and I got my willy stuck in a hoover.
Well, I'm not the kind to kiss and tell, but I've been seen with fire up. I've never been with anything less than a 9. So fine. I've been on fire with Sally Field, gone past with a girl named Bo. But somehow they just don't end up as mine. It's a death-defying life I lead. I take my chances. I die for living in the movies and TV. But the hardest thing I ever do is watch my leading ladies kiss some other guy while I'm bandaging my knee. I might fall from a tall building, I might roll a brand new car, 'cause I'm the unknown stuntman that made Redford such a star. I've never spent much time in school, but I taught ladies plenty. It's true, I hire my body out for pay. Hey, I've gotten burned over Cheryl Teague's, blown up for Raquel Welch. But when I wind up in the hay, it's only hay. Hey, I might jump an open drawbridge or Tarzan from a vine, 'cause I'm the unknown stuntman that makes Eastwood look so fine.
03444991000. Normal service resumes. This is the Late Night Alternative on Talk Radio. Don't forget, you can download the Iain Lee Late Night Alternative podcast on iTunes or your usual podcast provider. Can you do me a favour as well? If you follow Talk Radio on Twitter at Talk Radio, or if you go to the Facebook page, facebook.com/Talk Radio UK, we've got these fancy pants cameras in the studio now, and they take this little 2-minute, 1 minute 30, 2-minute clips of the show that we suggest that we think will be funny or entertaining or informative. And they get uploaded onto Twitter, and they also get uploaded onto facebook.com/Talk Radio UK. It really does me a great favour if you watch those clips and if you retweet them or you share them, because this is a business that is driven by numbers, and the higher the numbers are for those clips, the more secure it kind of makes things. Listen, I ain't going to lose my job, just sign on for another 2 years, but All of this stuff is bankable. So and I know I'm retweeting a lot of these at the moment. It's just because I really just want them to kind of be seen. So if you see me retweeting them, if you watch them, if you enjoy them, if you want to retweet them, or if you want to share them on Facebook, that would be great. I would appreciate that. Thank you very much. Oh, and thanks to everyone who came to the Bear Club in Luton on Saturday. It was nice. It was a good old night. We had a good night. I hope you enjoyed it. Although, thank you. Oh, are they both for me? Yeah. Hey, although I did get called out by an audience member for being rude to someone in a restaurant. Now, here's the thing. My behaviour was inappropriate. My behaviour was no. My behaviour. We went into a restaurant, Katherine and I, and there were some people there who'd come to see our show, and the restaurant was empty. And the woman said, "I'm sorry, we're booked. We're full."
Yeah,
we have no
virtually
spaces.
empty. No, she said we're full.
Yeah, okay, but here's the thing.
So we thought she was joking at first, and then we realised she wasn't.
No, but here's the thing. I think our anger was misplaced. I do think it was misplaced because English was not her first language. She was Italian. And
you're assuming.
Well, she had a really strong Italian accent. You think she grew up in Italy speaking English as her first language?
She only said 2 words. I don't know if we could say she was Italian.
She had a really strong Italian accent.
Okay.
And then apparently 10 minutes after we left, the place got full because it had all been booked. But as we left, I went something like, "Oh, effing hell," or "Oh, for F's sake," quite loudly. And then we stormed off. And an audience member, embarrassingly for me, was one of the people that was in this restaurant, and she called me out, rightfully so. I phoned up the restaurant that evening. When I got to my car, I phoned up the restaurant and I spoke to the woman, and I apologised. Now, here's the thing, right? She hadn't heard what I'd said, okay? So here's a philosophical question. If she hadn't heard what I'd said, if a tree falls, what do other trees care in a forest? So if she hadn't heard what I said, had I been rude to her? No. Even though I had sworn, and the swearing was, although it
wasn't directed at her. It was about the situation.
No, it was directed at her.
Oh, I don't think so. You didn't say effing awful woman or anything.
Hang on a minute. I know my intention. So,
okay.
Yes, my intention was to express anger at her. But she hadn't heard it. So here's a philosophical question for you guys. 0344 499 1000. Does she owe me an apology? Because I apologised to her.
I think actually she embarrassed us. Yeah.
No, again, I don't. Looking back on it, I don't think she did.
I think she did.
Well, tell me why you think she did.
Because we walked in, right, from our perspective, we walked into a virtually empty restaurant.
Yeah.
Everyone was listening to the conversation as we walked in because it was right at the front of the restaurant, and we were the only people in there talking.
Yeah.
So we walk into an empty restaurant and we say, "Oh, hello, table, all smiles, table for two. Have you got a table for two, please?"
Yes.
And all she said was, "We're full."
Yeah.
She didn't say, "I'm sorry, we're about to get a big party." There was no explanation. We're full. So we kind of did that thing where you pause and think, is this a joke?
Yeah.
And she didn't say anything else. She just sort of left us standing there.
Yeah.
And we worked out for ourselves. And I think that part of that...
She said it again. She said it a second time.
We're full. And then we went, oh, she's not joking. But we had to work that out for ourselves. I think we were embarrassed.
And this is it. I think we were embarrassed. I think my anger came from embarrassment.
Yeah, because everyone was looking at us.
Well, everyone. There was
4 people were looking at us.
There was 3 people in the restaurant. There were the 2 that came to the show, and there was 1 guy, and that was it. But it was embarrassing, and that's where the anger came from embarrassment. Anyway, so you know what? It's kind of a small thing, and I phoned her up, and I'm glad I phoned her up, you know. And this is one of the things I learn as I get older: is if I do things that leave me uncomfortable. At the end of the day, I don't do it, but it's suggested that you take like an inventory and you look at everything that's happened in the day, and you think, what did I do that was good? What did I do that was not good? What was my part in it? Was it? And I took inventory around that, and actually I felt uncomfortable about the way I behaved. So I phoned her up. And I said, look, and it was the same lady, and I said, look, I'm really sorry, I came in earlier on, and I just think that, you know, some of the language I used was inappropriate, and I just wanted to apologise. And she kind of brushed the apology aside, and she said, she said in broken English, between 6 and 8 we get really busy. And I said, OK, fine. I just shouldn't have, expressed myself the way that I did. And that's that, right? And it's a small kind of, it's a small thing in the world, in the universe. It's a tiny little incident that was done right. But then I mentioned it on Twitter.
Oh, God. I saw that.
The sanctimonious, perfect people on Twitter. So I tweeted, because I was also embarrassed when the audience member called me out in the show, and I felt embarrassment and I felt shame around it. Okay, and it kind of I allowed it to throw me off. I think the whole evening I was looking at this woman, thinking, is she laughing? Does she like me? Does she hate me? And that's my issue. That's not her issue. That's my issue. So I tweeted something like, an audience member has rightfully called me out for being rude in a restaurant, and I shouldn't have done it. And I didn't say exactly what I'd done, so everyone assumed I'd been rude to a waiter.
Yeah,
or something.
exactly.
Everyone made assumptions. And loads of people said, get over it. Loads of people said, you're an idiot, stop whinging. But quite a few people said, I'm so disappointed in you, Iain. Someone did say I used to like you in the jungle, but now I don't like you anymore. And so that happened kind of, I tweeted that, I guess, maybe about 9 o'clock. And then I tweeted at about 11 o'clock, 10 past 11 I phoned up. I've just phoned up and I've apologised and it's fine and I'm really embarrassed. And I was saying, I said twice in two of the things, I'm really grateful that this audience member has called me out because it's something I should be picked up on. But even after I'd apologised, people were still having a go at me, right? And most people wouldn't have apologised. I can only go by my standards, so I did. But so I tweeted something like, phoned, apologised, let's move on. And then some guy tweeted, how about phoned, apologised, won't do it again, let's move on. And I just thought, excuse me, what is this? Why is it? And there were quite a few, I had to block quite a few people who were being so judgmental over the fact that here's the thing, here's my excuse. Let me give you my excuse, right? I still felt ill from this stomach bug. So I was kind of, I was short, I was short of temper. It had been a stressful day in my family life, with everything that was going on. I was nervous about doing it. So there's lots of reasons, okay? It doesn't justify rudeness, of course it doesn't. But I had lots of reasons as to why I was not in the best place. And I think walking out of a place and saying the F word that wasn't actually even heard.
It can't have been that loud.
People do a lot worse than that. But the people on Twitter... And again, it was a small percentage, but I would say it was a significant percentage. I would say it was about 8 to 10% of the tweets I was getting were really, even after I'd said I'd apologised, were really having a go at me.
Ironically, angry with you for being angry at a stranger.
Yeah,
but angry at a stranger by being and not knowing the situation. Now, I think if you'd have been out of order, I don't think you were out of order. I think it was an obvious misunderstanding, and it could have been explained better to us, and it was embarrassing.
Yeah, it was embarrassing.
And I didn't see it that as you swore at her. You swore under your breath as we left.
It wasn't under my breath.
Well, you weren't directing it. You didn't say.
No.
You didn't shout in her face,
No,
which
correct,
is
correct.
what people were seeing it
Yes.
as on Twitter.
Correct.
And I would have said to you, I would have been embarrassed if that's the situation that would happen. I don't like that kind of stuff in restaurants.
But I had to check my own behaviour,
Yeah.
and I was unhappy with it.
Fair enough.
And I was unhappy with it.
And you did the right thing to address it.
Yeah. And but I was so surprised by people on Twitter.
Hang on, think about that sentence.
No, I know, but they were really laying into me over. It's not like. Imagine if I'd used the N-word or got caught, making love to a woman dressed up as Hitler, or
She dressed up as Hitler, or you?
We're both dressed up as Hitler.
Wow.
But imagine the furore around that. I mean, all I did was walk out of a restaurant and go, oh, effing hell. And flipping heck, the Twitterati were at my... It was incredible.
They're waiting for outrage, though, aren't they, some people?
They are, and I think some people are also waiting for the tragic comic to stumble.
Also, it has to be said, 11 o'clock on a Sunday night, wine time.
Yeah. It was a Sunday night, wasn't it? It was Sunday, not Saturday. Why did I... No, it was Saturday.
Oh, it was Saturday.
It was Saturday,
well, double wine time.
Yeah, it was Saturday. And these all these sanctimonious people really haven't... I don't know what sanctimonious means, actually, now I've said it. But they're all just haven't
sort of holier than thou.
And there were, and then there were people like going off and having their little their own arguments. And, it's incredible. It's incredible. But then someone said, phone her up and get her on the show. Well, no, because then it becomes a thing, No, it's not. This is just a small thing. So basically, Twitter, you can get stuffed. 0344 499 1000 is the telephone number if you want to give us a call. This is the late night alternative on Talk Radio. The switchboard is empty. You can give us a call about anything. I'm going to talk about a wonderful film I saw last night, and then we'll look in the papers. How does that sound? This is Talk Radio.
The late night alternative with Iain Lee. Unfiltered night talk with the original king of unconventional conversation on Talk Radio.
We have ways of making you talk.
0344 499 1000. Quiet on the phones tonight, but that's all right. It always is a little bit weird when we've had a guest for the first part of the show. So I watched the film yesterday, and I'm not sure if I'm supposed to have watched it. I'm not sure where we're supposed to... what the deal is. I don't know what the deal is at the moment, with people being called out as... I don't even know what the term is. I'm going to say sex offenders, but that sounds a little bit jokey. I watched the new James Franco film.
Right, okay.
The Disaster Artist, right?
Scarlett Johansson called him out again yesterday, didn't she?
Well, this is it. I don't know where we are, and I don't know what the rules are, and I don't know. I don't know. It's such an interesting... I'm going to say a word that might sound misplaced, but I kind of mean it in the true sense, exciting time, in as much as it's exciting that, on one level that all these stories are breaking, but also it's exciting because we could potentially be on the cusp of a breakthrough in behaviour and attitudes, okay? I suspect we're not, and I suspect that not much will change, but potentially we are. With the Me Too and that Harvey Weinstein being called out and Kevin Spacey being called out and all of these people being called out. And The Disaster Artist is the James Franco film and about Tommy Wiseau, who is this nut job that made this awful movie called The Room. And it's about that. And I watched it and I really, really enjoyed it. It's a really good film. I've not seen The Room. I'm aware of it. You don't need to have seen it to enjoy the film. It's a great film. James Franco... I like James Franco as an actor, but he doesn't really act.
No, he plays degrees of
James Franco.
Of nutty.
Yeah, and in this he's doing... the reason he's winning all these awards is because he's doing a funny accent. And he's got long hair. And I watched it, and I really enjoyed it, okay? But I don't know... I don't even know how to phrase this into a question. I don't know what the rules are at the moment. I don't know what the rules are. Am I allowed to watch the film? Am I allowed to enjoy the film? I watched Baby Driver on the way over to Australia. Am I thinking... I did... When I watched Baby Driver, I kind of came up with a thing that kind of worked for me. And I wonder if it appeals to... if it fits The Disaster Artist as well. The film is so much different from a record. For example, Gary Glitter's records, it's primarily Gary Glitter on those records. There are other people involved. The real genius behind Gary Glitter, of course, was Mike Leander, and the Glitter Band were playing on some of them. But it's primarily that person you're investing in, the name on there. With a movie, not only is there a cast that can be, could be 100 people, but there's going to be at least 150 people that worked on the film as riggers and lighting and sound and cameras and dollies and all of these things. So you're talking about 200, 350 people that invested. A film can take a year to make. That have invested a year of their lives into it, and so to then dismiss that film outright and say, well, you can't watch it, that denies those 350 other people of their craft being recognised.
But
yeah, go on.
Giving that film your patronage is giving power to the person who abused that power.
Yes, yeah, I get that.
That's what he's accused of. I mean, I've looked at some of the allegations against him, which were telling young actors they were going to be in a film and then putting pressure on them to go topless, or saying that they were going to do a scene, an orgy scene, and they would have their genitals covered and then pulling the covers off.
Right, okay.
And putting them in a position while the cameras were rolling where they felt they couldn't push him away.
Isn't that interesting? Because there's a scene in this film where the his Tommy Wiseau does that.
Right.
Does pretty much that.
Right.
And
I think also he's put himself in this position because he stood up with a flipping Time's Up pin on, like a champion of the women.
Yeah.
And so, rightfully, people who feel that they were put into a position by him, in his position of power, he abused the power, are going to say something, aren't they?
Okay.
Interestingly, he's kind of saying, I don't remember that, but I am accountable for what I've done.
Okay. Does that mean we can't watch the film?
I think it's really interesting what he does next.
Alfred Hitchcock, of course, has been accused of all kinds of horrendous things. What's the woman's name? Tippi
Hedren.
Tippi Hedren accused him of all kinds of hideous things. Yeah. So do we not watch The Birds? Don't like The Birds anyway. Let me think.
Well, he's not alive anymore, is he?
So is that the criterion then? The criteria that if they're dead, you can watch it?
Isn't it about if you're putting more power, giving more power to someone?
So we can't, and I don't know.
I don't believe in not watching, it's down to your own conscience whether you want to watch it. I can't, for example, and I know that stuff's not been proven, I can't listen to Michael Jackson stuff anymore. Because that's what comes into my mind. It spoilt it for me.
But so are we saying, and I know we're just kicking ideas around here. If you want to join in, by the way, Jamie and Kaseef, stay there and come to you in a bit. 03444991000. We can't watch The Disaster Artist until James Franco is dead.
No,
but then
or until he owns what's happened.
He's owning enough, though. He's
Let's
owning
see how
enough.
he does it.
Well. Is owning enough? If he's committed something that sounds like sexual assault of some kind, then surely he has to face potential legal ramifications. Coming out and saying, "Okay, yeah, I did that and it was bad." That's not enough, is it?
I part of me thinks it's not just him, right? And that doesn't make it any better, but there is an environment. He's been brought into an environment where it feels that he's safe to do that sort of stuff. So the whole industry needs to look at itself. And he's been made an example of, isn't he?
Yeah.
Do we as punters need to do anything? No, I don't think so. I think professionally that's where the repercussions are going to be.
Okay. Gary Oldman.
Right. What's Gary Oldman?
Well, Gary Oldman, he's winning loads of awards for Churchill. His wife has come out and accused him of hitting her.
Right.
So what do we do with that information?
Which is awful.
Yeah.
If true.
Yeah, we don't know it's true. We don't know.
We don't know it's not true.
No.
It's not the same thing, is it? Because this isn't about him abusing his power professionally.
So you would draw a distinction between using your power, your influence in your profession.
I just think the Time's Up thing.
Using and still, let's use a fictional person, okay? So a fictional actor, John Smith, is been making movies, but he's also a wife beater, for want of a phrase. You can just draw a distinction between those two.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that the Time's Up thing is about that toxic atmosphere inside a particular industry.
I thought the Time's Up thing was about that, but also about attitudes to women in general as well.
I think it's more of a professional thing. It's probably getting bigger that way.
I thought it
but
was...
I know Time's Up because these actresses have put money towards having some sort of fighting fund for women who were abused at work.
Okay.
So like farm workers and stuff like this. But it's gone out beyond the movie and theatre industries.
Because a lot of people have been arguing that Johnny Depp shouldn't be employed anymore because he has been accused of being physical with female partners in relationships. So I think, personally, I think that to have it in place, and we're talking in black and white when it's not, it's grey and it's colours and it's all different kinds of things. We're talking in black and white. But having it in... what's the word I'm trying to find? Having sanctions in place for people who abuse their position, but in work, but not their position in their private life. I think that doesn't. The two don't sit together. Feels a bit hypocritical. I think
that the effect will be the same, won't it?
What do you mean?
Well, in that now, people will make judgments, and this is a kind of really heady atmosphere of people women in particular, taking a stand. I don't know.
Yes. I don't know. It's just, I really enjoyed The Disaster Artist, and I don't know how that sits with me ethically. I don't know. I enjoyed it because it was a good film. James Franco's in one of my favourite TV programmes, Freaks and Geeks.
Yeah, I liked him too.
Does that... I don't know.
But then again, a lot of this stuff has not been proven.
No.
I think there's a danger that people are, being branded as something where they have no way to defend themselves. No. If they say they didn't do it, no one believes them. If they say they might have done it, people think, oh, he did it then.
It's a right old pickle, isn't it?
It's
a
strange thing.
We'll take a break and then we'll go to the calls. 0344 499 1000. This is Talk Radio.
The Late Night Alternative with Iain Lee.
On air and off the leash.
On Talk Radio.
Righty-ho. Let's... 0344 499 1000 is the telephone number. I'm having great trouble with my chargers. I just bought a new charger for the phone and I don't think it's connecting properly. It really is... Oh, yes, it has connected. OK. Let's go to Jamie. Good evening, Jamie.
Good evening. How are you?
Good, thanks, Jamie. Hot. It's hot in here tonight and I'm wearing a thick shirt. I don't normally wear a thick shirt, but it's a new shirt and I thought I'd wear it and I like it.
Strip.
Sorry?
Oh.
Strip.
Dirty boy.
Yes. I just want to say I enjoyed the show at the Bear Club the other night. I was watching it on Periscope. And
does it? Okay, this is the podcast that me and Katherine do, The Rabbit Hole, and we stream them on Periscope, and we're doing two this weekend, one Saturday night in Dublin and one Sunday night in Belfast. Does it work watching it is it fun watching it on Periscope?
Yeah, it is. I joined in the chat and then I called you as well.
Oh, nice one. Because I always wonder what people... And we were hitting about 200, 250 people for most of the show. And it's, it's a 2-hour show. We're glad that you enjoyed it. I'm not... What did you get out of it, though? Can you hear everything and you hear the audience and stuff?
I could hear it all perfectly and it was all really relaxed. And usually when I ring your show, I'm a bit nervous, but I don't know, it seemed all the more relaxed and a smaller audience. So when I called in, I don't know, it just... It went better, I think.
Well, good. Well, I'm glad you felt more comfortable, and we recommend everyone calls in on Saturday night and Sunday night. There weren't many calls, but they were all quality.
I think we had a flurry, actually. I think we had more calls than we've had before.
No.
I
felt busy.
I was the poo guy, by the way.
Sorry?
I was the poo guy.
What was the poo guy?
When I rang up asking for your help.
I can't remember.
Oh, because he'd done a poo in someone's personal toilet.
In your dress,
That was a good one. That actually was a good one.
That's a little bit below the belt, mate.
Made me laugh, anyway.
It made me laugh.
It wasn't very funny.
It was hilarious. Didn't see it coming at all.
Oh, Joel Dommett's got my key card! He's got my fob!
He tried to nick my pen!
He's nicked my fob!
He's going to have to come back then.
He's got my fob! Oh, hang on. I'm seeing him tomorrow. I'll get it tomorrow at the NTAs. There we go.
Tell him to put it in his burgundy jacket pocket.
What an absolute ponce.
At the NTAs, look at you.
Yeah, I know. I'm going to the National Television Awards. Hey, this guy.
Well deserved.
I've not done anything. All I did was cry in the jungle and get paid tens of thousands of pounds. I'm going to go to a award ceremony.
People weren't going to watch that programme and watched it because of you.
26.
Well, I'm one of them, so...
Yeah, I'm one.
You see. And did you see? You got to see the guy tossing the coins as well, didn't you?
It was very good, wasn't it?
Gary was great.
Oh, he was so nervous, bless him, and he still managed it.
Yeah, well, he didn't manage 20.
Did he charge for selfies?
He charged for selfies, yes. But we made, I made over £50 with sellotape selfies.
You're joking.
Yeah, seriously, £2.50 a pop. It's wonderful. It's the times we're living in.
I can't believe that.
Jamie, believe it.
Believe it.
Let's go to Kaseef. Good evening, Kaseef.
Hello, Ian. Just a couple of things I want to talk about.
Will I hear you on LBC?
Yes, you did, Ian. Yeah.
Will I hear you again on LBC this evening?
Doing the same conversation?
No. I don't know. I heard Kadir on there, so I thought I'll just come on there as well then. And I mean, there was a topic.
Always, because imagine this: the nightmare of driving home on Friday night, and I heard Kaseef and Kadir on LBC. Right, you know,
we're a tag team. Double K.
yeah, with a double K tag team of just two of the weirdest callers. But also, can I ask a question, Mike? Because I do find it weird, and there are some callers. Because I listen to a lot of radio, Kaseef. I listen to Talk Radio and LBC and 5 Live and BBC London, loads of different stations. I like phone-in shows, right? And there are a handful of callers that will... I forget once, there's a really boring caller. It doesn't phone me. I can't think of his name. It doesn't...
Ken from the Highlands.
No, he don't phone me. No, he doesn't phone this station. But he's a really boring caller, really boring. He phones up and makes really boring points that he thinks everyone's going to be interested in. Really pompous. And I heard him on BBC London making this really boring point. And then I turned over to LBC 20 minutes later, and he was on there as well. But here's the thing, right? He's got I think he was calling from Las Vegas. He's got a place in Las Vegas. So he was calling two local London radio stations from Las Vegas within 30 minutes of each other. I'm thinking, why don't you go and read a book? Go out for a walk. You're going to the desert. Go and do something. What are you phoning up these Muppets for?
He must be barred from all the local radio shows in America.
But he's English. He's English, and he's got well, as you know, I've got a place in England and a place in Las Vegas, and of course, you know, I'm still phoning up to talk about Brexit. Talk about Brexit from Las Vegas. Don't get stuffed.
But what a soulless place Vegas is.
Vegas is awful. I mean,
it's like Blackpool with a bit more money.
It is,
although Blackpool's got character.
Yeah, and yeah, it's horrendous, Vegas. So what I want to know is, Kaseef, what do you? And this isn't an arch question. It's a genuine. I'm genuinely interested. What do you get out of calling up a radio station?
Yes, well, Ian, it's quite simple. I mean, you watch TV and you can't interact with it. You can't call in, you can't give your points, and you can't make it, like, respond to you. But with the radio show, can talk to you, you can answer questions. I mean, that particular question was about Boris Johnson, who, as you probably heard, I referred to as a clown, because he's a clown, quite simply. He's like a bee with a dictionary. He'll buzz around, he'll say a few words.
A bee with a dictionary?
Who sorted the dictionary. During the election, he called Corbyn some weird word. I can't remember now what it was.
But we're in danger of veering off into a topic. Can't we just bring you back to the formlessness of this show? Why do you want to share your views on a phone-in radio show? How does it make you feel?
What does it make me? No, I mean, because with TV, you get angry and you like...
Forget TV. I don't want a comparison. I don't want a comparison with TV. Why do you feel compelled to phone this radio station and others and share your points of view?
Well, I mean, with you, Ian, you're quite relaxed, you're quite chilled out, and Like
No. I don't want to know about my. Forget me. Stop looking externally. Look internally. Why do you feel the need to express your views on a phone-in radio show?
I mean, the major topic I phone in about is politics or Brexit.
I don't want to talk about. Yeah, I know you talk about Brexit and about Boris Johnson being a bee with a dictionary and all of that stuff. But why do you feel you have to share your views on a phone-in radio show?
I mean, I've shared my view in the past with other people, and they've agreed with me. So that basically, sometimes if somebody makes a point that I think I won't call in, but if nobody has made that particular point, then I feel the need to call in.
But why do you feel we're going to get there? Why do you feel the need to call in? Why do you think... OK, here's the question, and I've been trying to avoid it because it sounds rude, but I'm going to ask it. Why do you think anyone cares what you've got to say about things?
It's quite simple. I mean, like I said, I've spoken before in the past and about Brexit in the local area, and people cared what I had to say. So, I mean, I'm just continuing that, really.
OK, well, that's brilliant, Kaseef. Thanks very much for your call. 0344 499 1000 is the telephone number if you want to give us a call. That started about 12:34, but you get a nice 2-minute bit out of that and finish with me cutting him off.
I think the moral of that one is he doesn't care if anyone cares what he's got to say. He just needs to say it.
And that's great. And that's kind of the bread and butter. That brings out the bread. That's the bread and butter of a lot of phone-in shows. It's not the bread and butter of this phone-in show. People phoning up with opinions on the news. Well, to a certain extent, it could be. 0344 499 1000 is the phone number. Let's try this one. My phone's gone a bit funny. Line 2, you're on the wireless. Oh, he's gone. There's a great story in The Sun. There's a great story in The Sun. Where is it? Where's page 27 gone? All gone ding-dong for teen bell ringer.
Huh.
A teenage bell ringer was if this doesn't... I've not read this story. If this doesn't have the phrase bell end in, and I'm going to be very disappointed. A teenage bell ringer was yanked 40 feet into the belfry by ropes he got tangled in and had to be rescued by firemen.
You all right?
Yes. Just in the next sentence. Fellow ringers watched helplessly as the 17-year-old lad soared up into the mechanism and got trapped. What do you mean helplessly?
With laughter.
How fast was he going? If I see a 17-year-old boy start rising in front of me, I'm going to reach out. I'm at least going to grab a foot. But imagine you got up. Imagine you all got pulled off. They rushed up the spiral staircase and phoned for an ambulance after finding him with ankle and shoulder injuries.
He went all the way up.
No one filmed it. Paramedics were unable to stretcher him down because the steps were too narrow, so they called for a fire crew. A brigade spokesman said the casualty needed to be lowered over 40 feet to the floor using a rope rescue system.
Oosh.
The unnamed teen had been practising ringing one of the 10 bells at 1,000-year-old St Helen's Church in Abingdon, Oxfordshire. He was taken to hospital. Brian Reid, the tower captain, said, "It's a very rare occurrence, but it can happen. Like any activity, it cannot be 100% safe." Doing, word searches is 100% safe, isn't it?
Well, some of those pencils, you get lead poisoning.
What's the point of word searches? I mean, for anyone above the age of 9, What is the point of a word search? Yeah, you get old people will go and buy word search books in W.H. Smith's at King's Cross Station.
I used to love a word search when I was a kid.
When you're a kid, it's great. It's great. And my 8-year-old loves a word search. Absolutely loves it. But an adult, I don't understand Sudoku either.
Oh no, number squares.
No, I don't.
No,
I mean that's just.
I don't really get the jigsaw thing, but I know some cool people do it.
Well, Art Garfunkel does.
Well, also that Karen from Will and Grace and her cool husband, they're really cool and they do it.
Really?
What's he called? They're the coolest couple. They've got no kids, so they seem to really enjoy each other's company.
I don't know, but I know here's Art Garfunkel talking about jigsaws.
Oh, so dramatic. There's hardly a play without it. Is it all perception? Is it a name for unfilled expectation?
03444991000.
Nick Offerman.
Sorry?
Nick Offerman.
What about him?
He's married to Megan Mullally. Oh, they have the best time.
I've got no idea what you're talking about now.
Jigsaw couple.
Hey. I know I get jigsaws. I can explain the psychology behind jigsaws. You start with a mess, right? No one likes a mess. Everyone likes to tidy up. And you start with a mess, and then you tidy it up. It's a great sense of satisfaction. And I'll tell you where I got that from. I interviewed years ago Alexei Pajitnov. Do you know who he is?
No.
Oh, so Kerno, by the way. So Kerno is Cornish for Cornwall. And the Kernos, quite often, if you drive down Cornwall, you'll see a flag.
Black flag with a...
And it says Kerno, and that they want independence.
Right.
They've got their own language.
Yeah, do you know that they can understand the Basques?
Yeah.
And some parts of Russia.
Yeah, of course.
Because it's a Celtic language.
Yeah, exactly.
Didn't know it's called Kerno.
Yeah. Oh, listen, I'm a mine of information. Informazione. What was I talking about before that? Oh, yeah. So Alexei Pajitnov.
Yes.
You know who he is?
No.
He invented Tetris.
Oh.
And I asked him, why do you think Tetris is so successful? Because it was a phenomenon, right? It was a phenomenon. Massive, millions of dollars, and it was partly responsible for bringing down the communist regime. It was a huge game, right? Huge game. And I said, why do you think it was so successful? And he said, I've thought about this a lot. And those who know, Tetris is things, shapes falling down. You've got to flip the shapes around and make lines, and then it. And he said, no one likes looking at their mistakes.
Right.
No one likes to look at a mess, and no one likes to look at their mistakes. So you play Tetris to try and clear up your mistakes. And, of course, you always get caught out. At some point, you're always going to lose.
Yeah.
And so that's why people keep going back, because they want to clear up their mistakes. And I think that's what the similar reasoning behind jigsaws is. You are presented with a mess, and you can make this mess into something beautiful. And I if I were to seriously get into competitive jigsaws, I would wipe the floor. That reminds me, right, that's going on the list of True Olympics.
All right.
So far, the True Olympics are going to be coin on the elbow toss, jigsaws.
Doing spitballs? No.
That's stupid. That's Americanism. We've got two sports. We've got loads of calls. Let's take a quick break.
Unmissable late night radio with the original king of unconventional conversation. Make contact with Iain Lee. The late night alternative with Iain Lee on Talk Radio.
Evening, Danny.
Good evening, Ian. How do you do?
I do very well, Danny. How do you do?
Yeah, very good. Thanks. Just enjoying the show this evening.
Thank you very much. So what have you got for us?
To do some work. Just wanted to touch on the restaurant topic. So I don't really think you should be. I don't really think you should be feeling too bad with yourself if you had a bit of a rough day.
Oh, I don't. Here's the thing. I don't. But everyone on Twitter, a significant number of people on Twitter were telling me I should have felt bad about myself.
There's always going to be kind of antagonists out there who are out to get you for what they can, I suppose. But really, I mean, if the maitre d' who's kind of greeted you has been a bit short with you and just said we're full on two separate occasions, like in the trade, you taught to be able to read people. Kind of at a split second, and very much to put the customer first and be as polite as possible.
Well, listen, it was a small family-run Italian restaurant. It was an old Italian woman. I don't think in hindsight that she was being rude. I think I took her brusqueness as rudeness, but also I felt embarrassed for some reason, and that's what got me angry. I just think it was a misunderstanding.
Yeah, totally. I can. Obviously, if she's kind of undermined you per se, it's not particularly nice. A little bit more of an explanation would have been, forthcoming. I think.
Yes.
Definitely.
Did you say that you're a maitre d', Danny?
No, I've worked in the restaurant trade in the past. I've moved on from that.
Do you get maitre d's anymore? That seems like a very old-fashioned concept. The concept of the person who is kind of overseeing the tables and greets people and checks their names if they've reserved, and if not, looks at his little map of tables to see when people are leaving and coming. And that seems a very old-fashioned concept.
Well, it tends really to be the job of a restaurant manager or somebody in a managerial position. So you know the bookings, you're on the door to greet guests, especially VIPs, and then it's a point of touching tables and really just making sure that you're fulfilling the guests' expectations. Everybody has a different way that they like to be served per se. So it is really all about judging a customer. At the end of the day, you get a feel for it over time. So if people want to be left alone, you're a little standoffish. But some people really do like to be doted upon. I do kind of. I suppose it's kind of site specific. You go with expectations, and you kind of you set a benchmark standard. And when I was working in the trade, we used to think sometimes people's expectations were so far beyond the realism of what we could actually do that they were just out to get something for nothing.
Danny, thank you very much for that. In response to what I was saying about people phoning in with their opinions and stuff, where has it gone? It's a really good point from Kyle. Let me find it. It's on Twitter. My Twitter's gone. Hang on a minute. Where is it? I can't find it. But basically, he says, well, are you saying there's no point in phone-in radio shows? Yeah, I guess I am. There is no point in phone-in radio shows. There is very little point. A little bit of comfort to the lonely, or company to the lonely, a little bit of entertainment. But really, there's no point to them. Nothing gets changed because of them. I think
the thing we're curious about is why someone would ring multiple radio stations, because that to me suggests it's about the act of phoning or the act of being on the radio rather than contributing to a show that you feel particularly touched by. Do you know what I mean?
Partly that, but also why would anyone be interested in anyone else's view about, for example, Brexit?
Yeah.
And in that respect, phone-in shows are pointless.
But that's not the sort of show we do.
No, but... But the majority of phone-in shows are pointless.
Yeah.
I mean, I think ours is silly and is pointless. It brings some people a laugh, and that's fine, and that's great. So you could argue there's a point in that, but in the great scheme of things, you don't change nothing.
But ours isn't dressed up as anything other than entertainment.
Yes, it's a factual entertainment show, guys. Good evening, Louise.
Hello, guys.
Hello, Louise.
I'm just phoning in to see if anyone's got a sore throat yet.
Spooky Lou.
The dirty witch.
The love witch.
The wicked witch of the north.
The shaven haven.
I'm slightly upset, Louise. Oh, flipping heck. I'm slightly upset, Louise, because I was hoping for a bit of huskiness at least by now, and I don't think I've got any yet.
But Eamon Holmes ain't back at work.
Yeah, what have you done to Eamon Holmes?
This is what I've seen, and apparently it looks like it got misdirected in the talk radio studio.
It looks like it's bounced off the window.
What we need to do, because...
I think what it were, guys, is if you're going to ask someone, you've got to feel that and hate it. And I don't hate you guys. I love you. I respect you. I love watching your show. So obviously, if you're not behind that...
Well, listen, here's what we need to do. Here's what we need to do, because Richard Madeley is filling in for him. Now, I've got a lot of time for Richard Madeley.
I can ask him.
No, don't, because I've got a lot of time for Richard Madeley.
As well?
But I think Richard Madeley is brilliant, right? I genuinely think he's brilliant. But he's got a fatwa out on me. He does not like me.
He's got a what? He don't like you.
He doesn't like me. Right? Yeah. He doesn't like me. So, today I had to hide in my car until I was confident that he'd left the building. Okay, so we need to get Eamon Holmes back. Can you put...
I've got healing spells I will work on, Eamon.
No, we don't want to send him to West London. Can you do a healing spell?
For Eamon, that's what I said. I've got healing spells.
Ealing, you mean healing.
Sorry,
You're just common. Yes.
Northern accent.
No, of course it is. Of course
Don't
it
you
is.
dare apologise for that.
It's a class thing.
I do apologise.
Well, let's give Eamon one of them healing spells.
Hey. Healing spell? I will give him an healing spell.
Go on then. Is it just you going, Eamon, you're better now?
I'll concentrate a bit like I did. Have you ever seen that kids' programme, The Worst Witch?
Yes.
No.
That's me, that is.
What, you're Mildred Hubble? That explains a lot.
It does. Yeah, but I keep getting atted on Twitter.
Yeah, Twitter.
Oh, you've done Eamon. I'm like, I didn't. It weren't me.
You did do Eamon. It's got to be said.
Well, it might have got a bit misdirected in building. It might have just gone to who it needed to go to at the time.
Okay. We'll make Eamon better so he can come back tomorrow, please.
I will do then.
All right.
Okay.
Cheers, Louise. Ta-ta.
Thank you for making me your pin tweet and retweeting me.
There you go. Well, you're famous now. It said something like
I am.
16.
I know.
No, it's about 17,500 views last time I looked.
I'm not telling my kids that I'm on it. They'd be like, "Mum, what are you doing?" I'm so embarrassed.
Yeah.
So it's like between us and Twitter.
I'm going to cut you off now, Louise.
Okay.
There we go. Good evening, Pablo.
Hip hop hip.
Hip hop hip.
How do?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I've got a very serious topic to broach, an experience that I had today.
Oh.
It's quite traumatic.
Okay.
I found a fully untouched cake on the floor, just on the street.
Oh, no, come on.
In a box?
No, it was just, there may have been a tray underneath it, but I couldn't quite tell. I didn't get that close, to be honest. But I did take some photos. I've got evidence.
Of a cake?
Just like a full cake, just on the street.
Did you eat it?
I was tempted, but I was working at the time, so I couldn't. So I had to.
It feels like a trap to me. Like if you'd have gone near it, boom, a cage.
Yeah.
Well, I said just a general hobo trap for general people who would be happy to eat food off the floor.
Okay.
I was tempted because I would say technically it was untouched. It only seemed to be impact trauma from like a dropping from a small height.
Right.
You could take the top off that.
I don't understand where this is going.
It's not going anywhere.
Is that it?
Well, it was just you talking about serious people calling about serious things and the like, and I was,
you were acting the goat. He was acting the goat.
Being the giddy goat.
Acting the goat. What
am I like? And also on a factual basis, I heard the other day in regards to jigsaws, the Queen's a big fan.
Yeah.
And apparently she doesn't pay for them. She gets all her jigsaws from a jigsaw library. Apparently that's the thing. There's a jigsaw library.
Right. I don't understand. Is he making jokes?
No,
I think that's serious.
The Queen gets her jigsaws from a jigsaw library.
Yes, I heard it's on a factual-based program with No Such Thing as a Fish. It's specifically all fact-based.
Okay, thank you. Kaseef has texted in. I call the radio so much because I love debating. I really have a passion for it. That's interesting. Okay, that's interesting. Thank you, Kaseef, and you're very welcome to call in. But I hope you appreciate that we take things in a slightly different direction. Let's end on this old fool. Hello, Andre.
Who's that? Ian. Amazon it. Have a little listen. You like this?
Okay, where you go, bud?
She unscrews the top of a new whiskey bottle and shuffles around in a candlelit hovel like some kind of witch with blue fingers and mittens. She smells like the cat and the neighbours she sickens. Black and white TV has long seen a picture. The grass on the wall is a permanent fixture. The postman delivers the final reminders. She sells off her silver and poodles in China. Things to remember, me and myself, and winds up the clock and knocks dust from the shelf. Home is a love that I miss very much. The past has been bottled and labelled with love. During the wartime, an American pilot made every air raid in times of excitement. She moved to his prairie and married the Texan. Learned from a distance that it was a lesson. He became drinker and she became mother. She knew that one day she'll be one or the other. It is himself older, himself busy. Proud of her features, she kept herself pretty. Drinks to remember on me and myself, and winds up the clock and knocks dust from the shelf. Home is a love that I miss very much, so the past has been bottled and labelled with love.